This podcast is part of the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, the network for first responders and those who support them.
Disclaimer. All views expressed on What Makes Us Fire are solely those of the person or persons giving them. What Makes Us Fire does not represent or claim to represent any particular city or fire department, and therefore make the claim that all views and standpoints are affiliated with What Makes Us Fire and with What Makes Us Fire only. Any mention of certain fire departments or cities within the interviews are solely for informational and opinion-based dialogue. In short, if you have a problem with what's published, just say something about it and don't be a Richard.
What is up, What Makes Us Fire family? Welcome to the show today. My name is Josh, your host of What Makes Us Fire podcast, founder of the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a return guest. His name is Pedro, better known as Popz 951. But before I go into that, I want to go ahead and give you a little bit heads up about the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation. We are a nonprofit foundation dedicated to helping our civil service members, be it military or first responder, active, retired, veteran, and our volunteers, receive and get inpatient mental health treatment. The way we do that is we bridge the gap when it comes to financial aspects of going and receiving that kind of treatment. A lot of us would love to go and get that kind of treatment, but we can't afford the time away from work. We rely on that overtime. We rely on the second job. We rely on our business along with the civil service job that we are doing. Well, with What Makes Us Fire, we supplement that income for them. We want to make sure that they don't feel like they're putting on any more stress to their families while they're going to help themselves get better for themselves. On top of that, we're creating a peer support network, a mentorship program, and a motivational speaking program, all of which are tools to help anybody start their conversation and the path on getting mental health help for themselves. I also want to thank the Spagnoletti Law Firm for being a sponsor of the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation. If you're in the Houston area and you are looking for some litigation type work, lawyers, and just give the Spagnoletti Law Firm a call. They will definitely be able to help you out. We are also part of the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, a network where you will find podcasts and shows hosted by, written by, produced by civil service members just like myself. Go check out the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, where you will be able to help support other civil service members trying to spread their certain message out through a network that only has civil service members. All right, I think that's it. Wait, hold on. Spread the Cheer USA. Guys, spreadthecheerusa.org. Go check them out. They are a nonprofit helping family and children in need. This year, they are going to be in Vegas for the Cheer Choice Awards. For all of you that are part of our social media family, especially TikTok, you guys know about the Vegas invasion last year. Well, this is taking its place. It's called the Cheer Choice Awards. If you go to spreadthecheerusa.org, there, go to Cheer Choice Awards. You can check out all the events that are happening, purchase tickets, check out the hotel rooms, and kind of see what's going on. They're putting on a show to kind of show thanks and support to social media creators that are not only making a difference on social media for people, but that are actually trying to make a difference out in the world by being themselves, by producing what they produce on social media. They are making a positive change in the world. What Makes Us Fire believes we are trying to do that, and we would love your nomination. We believe we fall into about 4 categories. It's a humanitarian for the nonprofit, obviously, the military and first responder. I mean, come on. Motivational, inspirational, and the original sound slash I keep forgetting that word. Original sound slash concept. That's the word, concept. Anyway, do not nominate What Makes Us Fire for the beauty aspect. This face right here is a face for podcasts and radio, not a face for beauty. Just saying. But my guest on the other hand, now his face is a thing of beauty. I'm telling you. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. Popz _951 on TikTok, better known as Pedro to myself. a good friend of mine. This is his return episode. It's been about a year since he's actually been on the episode. It's crazy that it has been a year already. And on this episode, we actually talk about this past year. A lot about what the world's been dealing with, the pandemic, coronavirus, COVID, whatever the fuck you want to call it, how that affected both of us, how he went through a little stint and how he got himself out of it. And knowing and realizing that he was in that stint is kind of a pretty big deal. I don't think a lot of us realize when we see our really favorite social media creators on TikTok or on Facebook or social media of any type that they would ever go through something like they're going through. I mean, how could they? 600,000 plus family members, followers, friends on social media. How could you be sad? You have all these people that care about you. It's the thing. Just because we're social media creators, or just because we have a huge following, doesn't mean we're still not human. And we talk about that. So, to kind of push this along, without further ado, my friend, my brother, Pedro, better known as Popz 951. Not Popz, because if you listen to his first episode, I sounded really stupid for about 40 minutes because I kept calling him Popz. Hey, yeah, so next time you're in his live, just call him Popz. Piss him off a little bit. Be fun. Oh, look at you.
Come on, guy. Hey.
Yes, I'm flirting with him.
I was
Don't
like,
get jealous. Go back to sleep.
For a minute, I was like, what the fuck is
I love you.
Hey, B. All right, let's see it. There we go.
That's way better. Yeah, that's way
Okay.
better. You can still see the posters and everything. Just those lights were blowing out the picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And no, eventually, so apparently I got a desk on the way and everything like that, so my setup will be a little less congested. I'm going to have to sacrifice my little stand right here, which as it pains me to do it, it's going to happen. But at least I'll have more space, like, to actually finagle around the desk, and it'll look a little bit centered. Because the thing that's messing me up right now is, like, I'm right here, centered on the monitors, but everything else, like my shelves, they're like right over here on my left side. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, it throws me off too. Like when I first set this all up, my computer and monitor were off to the left, but my camera and everything, and to get the right shot, I was over sitting on here on the right. So I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, with the new desk and everything, it should come out a little bit more, so I can actually center things appropriately and actually have more room to finagle on the other side. So
I tell you what, you and I both have come a hell of a long way since the last time you were on the show.
yeah,
We have come a long way, and at the very least, with our gear that we're using and what we're doing with our social media stuff and our, you're a Twitch gamer now. That's kind of weird.
I started doing it. I mean, I figured, you know what, like, why not? I'd had enough people already as it was, because, like, just asking me is like, do you have a Twitch? Do you have a Twitch? Do you have a Twitch? And I'm like, I do, but I'd never used it.
Right.
Like, I never really knew what to do as far as how I would need to start.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I was like, you know what?
I'll figure this shit out.
I'm like, let's just try it. Let's just give it a shot. And sure shit, like, I only have, I think the most people I've had on Twitch so far is like 5. But
it'll pick up. You keep going on your lives on Whiskey Wednesdays. You just let them know you got a Twitch now if they want to talk to you a little bit more and watch you play video games. They're gonna. Yeah. I'm actually thinking of getting a Twitch, but I needed a console. Since I moved out of the house, I don't have my Xbox anymore. So I want to get a new Xbox, and I'm looking at that Series X.
The Series X, I think, is really pretty. The Series S is pretty badass just in general on its own.
The only thing I don't like about the Series S is that it's digital only. You can't get any type of CD or anything. Everything has to be downloaded, and then if you download enough games, you're gonna have to buy the extra memory thing. And God, it's just
I found that out the hard way. But thankfully, like, I mean, the majority of times, like, I already download my games anyway, so I have a saved repository of all my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I found that out the hard way because I was like, all right, let me see if I can put this in. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a fucking this one doesn't have a reader.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to use an external Blu-ray drive, which it's possible but not possible because like when I try to use like plug one in, it said it wasn't identifiable, but for some reason I think on the Xbox, if I last remember, it did say that it's capable to plug in a peripheral like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fuck, man, like I could plug in a stupid ass what the hell is it called? I could plug in a damn a USB dongle that has a multi-port,
mm-hmm.
and that shit will work. So if that works, then I should be able to plug in a damn Blu-ray player.
Yeah, but I don't know if the Blu-ray will read a gaming CD the same way. I'm not sure.
Well, no, it won't read the gaming CDs, but it'll at least like the deep, because believe it or not, I still have
DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I have some too. So I mean, but the Series S, I mean, all I would have to do is buy an. Man, we sound like geeks right now. Hey everybody, welcome to the What Makes Us Fire podcast, where Popz and I are talking about Xbox and playing video games. No, it doesn't matter that we're both in our 30s.
Oh, no, not at all.
It doesn't matter at all. And, you know, we were just talking about video games and stuff. But yeah, man, let's get into it. And you know, this was a lot cleaner start than the last one. We were talking about video games instead of black couches.
That's true.
You know, we upgraded our seating areas. We
gave it a dynamic look now.
Yeah, there's more of a dynamic look. I got a way better background now. Mm-hmm. You have a way better background now.
Oh yeah.
This is actually, I'm actually compared this episode, just the visualization compared to the last one, it's already made to be a lot better. And just because I said that, it's probably going to suck.
But maybe it won't last like 3 hours like the last time. Maybe we'll keep it like, all right, we'll keep it on points of things.
Well, if you're the one talking, probably not.
Oh, damn. Like on that note, I might as well give myself a plate of food so that way I can.
You were eating freaking. I remember we were both eating when we started the podcast last time.
Yeah, because
you just woke up. You're like, I had to get my coffee. I had to get some food. Yeah, I remember that.
Man, I'm telling you, like, today was a late after I went to bed last night and everything, or this morning at like fucking 5.
Yeah, that's about.
6?
I went to bed like at 3:30, 4 o'clock. That was right after the live and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I was still trying to fall asleep, so I threw on Pinche Encanto and just played it to try to fall asleep too. Managed to do it, and then I woke up at like 2:30.
Oh shit! You woke up at 2:30? I woke up at 9 because I had to go get some propane for the RV. I had to get some breakfast, and then I recorded Novocaine on TikTok. We and her had our podcast. We recorded that this afternoon, and then I was telling her, I was like, "Yeah, Popz is going to be coming back on the show, and we're going to talk, and we're going to catch up on everything." It's been almost, actually, you know what? I can actually find out right now how long it's been since you've been on the show.
That'd be funny as hell if it was
since your episode aired.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can find that out right now.
That would actually be pretty cool if it was like legit, like to the day.
Oh, no, almost, bro. Almost. January 26th of 2021. Almost a year. Almost a year since you have been on the show. Almost a year. Yeah, January 6th, 2021. Pedro leading the march. That was the name of your episode. But for everybody who wants to go listen to his first episode, be prepared. Just be prepared. We started off the show talking about casting couch or black couch and then casting couch, and then it took a really weird turn. I basically was hitting on him for a little bit, made him feel uncomfortable, talked about his life and everything. But
did you really make me feel uncomfortable?
Probably not. I probably didn't. I probably didn't make you feel uncomfortable at all. You probably were just like, I know.
I know.
So what have you been up to, man? What's been going on?
Just keeping busy, man. So obviously, you know, with things with work and all, obviously things are changing. Keeping busy with that kind of situation. And then here, even with on the social media aspect, I have plans and aspects of things that I want to do. Because I remember last time that I was on the show, we had talked about it, and we talked about it a few different times here before, like that I want to start looking into doing that podcasting, right? Well, this year is actually the year that I want to start doing it. I figured to change it the brand new year. You know, I'm already I might as well like build my platform, build my topics, so that way I can start broadcasting things out and even bring people on my own personal show. Like, because it'd be nice to have this kind of conversation set up. We could just bullshit. We can talk about certain topics, get like, ins and outs of certain things, get information out that people need to get. Because even too this year, I have a plan of, again, my list is to start that initial plan for developing that nonprofit that I was telling you about last year.
Yeah. Did you come up with the name? Is it going to be Hunt the Good Stuff?
No, it might. I'm still torn between Hunt the Good Stuff or One Last Call.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
So the One Last Call is basically, it's the same case instance, because especially too with like a thing that I have for this year, being that it's 2022, you already know, like we already deal with the whole instance of the 22 a day situation that's going on between first responders, military, and even just folks just in general.
Yeah.
Well, my pledge for this year, and along with other creators that I have, like especially like on TikTok, is to bring that whole 22, like make 2022 a year of this needs to be the awareness year of the whole of that situation.
Right.
Trying to bring it to an end, bring that 22 to 0 as best as possible, or at least get as much of the information out to people as possible. Because, there's a lot of shit going on, man. Last year and the year before, I think last year was like the hit as far as with a lot more crap had happened in the last year alone.
You added a pandemic on top of everything else that people deal with on a daily basis, and now you're telling people what's the one thing that people with depression do the most and go stir crazy the most is when you're told you can't do anything and you got to stay put and stay inside. You want to see some of the most depressed, fucked up people are people that never go outside, that never do anything. And now you're telling people that, look forward to going outside, look forward to doing these things to relieve that stress, to feel alive. Now you're telling them to stay inside, and that whole feel alive thing kind of starts getting chipped away. And you do that to somebody that is already having some problems, man, like the divorce rate. I can't wait to see the studies on what happened in 21 on divorce rate, on suicide, on, people going to therapy, mental health diagnosis being put out there. I can't wait to see the numbers, because I have a feeling like they probably fucking skyrocketed in 21. 2020 was like this. It's bad. It's going to suck. And then 21 was just like, wow, this really fucking sucks. And laying it on top of all these people that are already battling and dealing with a bunch of other stuff before this even happened. And I can only imagine what the numbers skyrocketed to.
Well, that's the thing that sucks too, because it's like, just like you said, man, it's like a lot of people being cooped up inside, especially if you're used to doing certain things for an extended, like going adventuring and doing this and doing that. Like, it got to a point where now the most outdoorsy or most outgoing kind of person could just become a homebody and just get stuck in the rut. Those who have been stuck in the rut get deeper in whatever rut that they're stuck in, because now they can't go to the people that they need to for support, or they can't see the folks that they want to. Obviously everything started becoming driven with social media. So it's like, now it's like the joke that I made the other day and everything like that, it's like someone's social media has become the new bar for people to meet, you know what I mean? And it's fun, like it's a funny joke and everything, but at the same case in point, it's like it's like it's still nice to be able to meet people in person, get to know, like make new friends.
It's funny and sad at the same time. Like, it's funny, sad, and almost a savior at the same. Like, let's be honest, social media became a huge savior for people in a time where we weren't able to see people and touch people and being around other people. It was the closest thing that we can get to being around other people, to still have conversations, to be in a room where we not necessarily being able to hear another conversation going on, but like we'll see a conversation going on in the chat and somebody can chime in there, or, you know, the people that are talking can chime in there. And it was just, like you said, it was just like a bar. It was a savior in that it allowed people to still feel like there is some type of human connection going on.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about having actual human connection, meeting those people, shaking their hands, giving them hugs, having a drink with them, you know, sharing stories in person and not having to read what they're saying. Like, there's something to be said about that aspect of human interaction that actually does the body good and does the mind good. And when you start taking that away, it sucks. So it was great that it was there because it kind of supplemented that, and it was still hard, but it didn't make it as bad as it could have been. Yeah. It's just, like you said, I think human interaction, like physical, being in a space with another human being human beings are social animals. Like we thrive on that for not only our mental health, but even our physical health sometimes. And our physical health, because, you know, when people start sharing certain types of, it's going to sound gross, but like diseases and viruses and stuff, you grow that immunity, and like, it's actually for survival purposes. Like, that's why human interaction is a thing. So when you started taking that away, and when people started taking that away, it took a big hit on people. And, you know, it took a hit on me. I won't even lie. It was cool because I started the podcast during all this stuff, and I'm not knowing that it was going to get to this level, and that I would be constantly inside talking to people. I can't wait until I can start traveling and doing like in-person interviews. And that's what the goal is, to do in-person interviews and everything, and be able to interact with somebody live right there, you know, not on Zoom, and being able to laugh, talk, just like Joe Rogan does, sit across from a table. Yeah. You know, just have a good time.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to, man. And that's good though. Cause honestly, and what the cool thing about this whole setup as well too, is it's giving you guys, like giving folks who are starting podcasts or streaming or things like that, it's giving individuals the opportunity, one, to like hone in their craft a little bit more too. Mm-hmm. Because most of the time your day is taken away obviously with work, and that's a given. You know, once everyone started going back to work, it's either go back to work fully or go back to work with limited duty, just depending upon what the circumstance is, you know. And during the whole COVID time frame where everyone was legit stuck in the house, like, you can work from home, but now you can actually hone in on the crowd. So like you and your setup, just like how you said, this whole deal freaking, it's changed. Like, it's done pretty much a whole 180 from the original setups that we both had to now, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy what a year does, man. And it's crazy how much certain parts and aspects of our lives have grown too. I'm familiar with, you know, the past year, because you and I have kept in contact, kept in touch with everything, and a lot of different changes in both of our lives have happened. And we're going to go through those things, and we're going to talk about them and how we dealt with them and how we got through them and everything. We don't have to get extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? Detailed, but, you know, being able to share those kind of strifes and things that we went through just in this past year, and still able to find our way to, as you say, hunt the good stuff and be able to focus on those things. Yeah, is something huge that I think people can listen to. Let's call it what it is, bro. I mean, I know you don't like it. You're a social media influencer, and, you know, the things you put out there, you know, help people, and your messages that you put out there help people. I don't like being called a social media influencer at all. I don't have near the number of family that you do, but still people are telling me that I make a difference for them. I don't feel like I'm making a difference for them. I feel like I'm putting stuff out there that is something that I want to put out there, and then they get to decide whether or not it's going to be for them. That's why when somebody's like, "Oh, you help me," I was like, no. You allowed me to help you. Don't take that power away from yourself. You chose to allow the words that I said mean something to you. I didn't go into your brain and say, you're going to listen to what I say and it's going to mean something to you. I didn't do that. You did. So that was you. Yeah.
And that's good too, because it's like, again, just like how you said, like, we're just influencers. That's it. That's legit. Our input into anybody's lives is just influence. And what people tend to mistake, like tend to get that part mixed up about it, is that they forget that, like, okay, just like how you mentioned, like, we're not doing anything to change anybody's life. We're not making them do this. We're not forcing them to do that. We're not grabbing them by the hand or by the tuft of their shirt or put tuft of the neck or shirt or whatever and saying, do this or whatever. We are just the conscience on their shoulder being like, hey, here's a little something to think about, or, hey, here's a resource to reach out to, or, hey, give pay it forward. And, one good deed at a time, helps you become better, and it's up to them if they do it. When they do it, people want to give credit to other folks for the choices that they make, but they forget, like you said, that at the end of the day, you are the one that's doing it. You are the one that's making that forward step to progression, to kindness, to positivity, or whatever the case may be.
I almost don't like the fact that they take that power away from themselves. Yeah. I don't like the fact that they take that power. Like they're not even cognizant of the fact that they gave themselves the power to do that.
Yeah.
And you almost
it's a learning thing.
It is. And don't get me wrong. Like when I was first going through all my stuff and watching some of your videos and stuff like that and other people's videos, like, yeah, it helped me. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, wow. That's an amazing message. Well, I allowed that message to mean something to me. Right.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to be like, thanks for putting it out there, because if you not put it out there, I would not have been able to make that choice for myself. Yeah. So I think that's what it should be. Like, hey, thank you for putting it out there. Thank you for putting yourself out there, because that you did. I made the choice for myself that this is what it means to me, and I want to thank you for that. But I'm not going to say, hey, Pedro, it's because of you that I did this. I mean, you made a choice to do something. I made a choice to make it mean something. Yeah, and I gave myself that power. But yeah, you're right. So we're talking about all this stuff and everybody's listening, and everybody that's listening to the show knows that I usually kind of have a format and everything. And we go through, with guests, like where they came from and how they grew up and how they became this person that they are now. But with my former guest, we're not going to do all that. You guys want to hear that? Go listen to the first podcast, and you'll get to hear a little bit more about him. What we're going to do is we're just going to kind of catch up from the last time we talked here on the show. Obviously, I know some stuff, and you know some stuff about me. And we had some shit that we had to work through this past year. Yeah. And the fact that we both we came out on the other side, and here we are, and we feel like we're stronger from it, because shit, it was some pretty rough shit.
Yeah.
I think that's a good fucking thing to share with people.
It is. No, it definitely is a good thing.
I think it's a great thing to share with people, because I think when people go through hard times in life, a lot of the times we forget that we're not the only ones that go through hard times.
Yeah.
We forget that it always feels like nobody understands, and they don't understand your perspective. I'll give you that. Mm. They don't understand your perspective. However, there's a little bit of sympathy there, because there's similar situations, just different faces, right?
Yeah.
Similar situations, just different faces. And there's different ideas on how to work through those similar situations. And that's just the way it is. Like, one person going through a breakup and another person going through a breakup, they might handle it differently. But the way one person handled it, you can look at that and go, you know what? Maybe if I look at it this way, I'll be able to handle it better. Or, you know what? Wow, I looked at it that way. I got really fucked up about it. And that other person's like, I am not going to handle it how they did. Because look at how fucked up that guy is.
Because it all becomes just interpretation. It's just like how whoever's listening or whoever's watching or whoever's interpreting it, whatever they see, it's like, how am I going to see that situation or listen to that person's vesta or a situation or deal? And, how does that correlate or relate to what I'm going through? Or what are the similarities? Or what are choices, like you said, what are choices that they're making that I'm probably doing the same thing of, but I can change or adjust, or that I can utilize to help me better whatever's going on with me,
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it 110%.
Yeah.
The last time we talked there, you told us about your life and everything, about your family in California. Have you been to California since then?
So since the last podcast, I actually did go back to California. I went back to California for a mission for work. You know, we had exercises going on during June. So I went out there for about a month. Man, if you want to know, going back, getting that Cali sunshine and everything for just the short time that I was out there for was perfect. You know, I was able to go see my moms. I was able to see my sister, spend time with some of the family. And then obviously I was able to spend time and just enjoy being in California again. Mm-hmm. You know, so it was nice. And it was, you know, even though I wasn't exactly back to like where I would prefer to be at, you know, being in with the family at right there or being back up in Monterey, just something about being in California just revitalized and re-energized me again.
Would you say like you felt like you're closer to home? Maybe it felt more like home.
Oh yeah, because it's like I know, like it's the areas that I'm familiar with. Like I can go down to because I was down in San Diego during that time frame and all this stuff. But fuck, man, if I wanted to go In and Out, like there's one of my favorite places to eat, I just go to In and Out and go grab some go grab a double. You know. By the way, that mention is not a sponsored mention for In and Out. This is just my
it's definitely not a fucking sponsored mention. No, it's definitely fucking not.
But I love In and Out.
What a burger! Sorry, what a burger. If you want to sponsor What Makes Us Fire family, I fucking love you. Just saying. You kick In and Out's ass all the time. I went to In and Out and I was on a diet at the time, so I couldn't have any carbs. And somebody told me, okay, well, just ask for them protein style. And I was just oh, okay, protein style. All right. I have no idea what that is. It's a fucking burger wrapped in lettuce. Hey, that's all it is.
Hey,
that's all it is. I was like,
still amazing. Remember,
no, it is not amazing. It is not amazing.
Do you eat a burger? Hold on. Do you eat a burger for the buns? Do you
no. You eat a burger to feel like you're full after you eat it. You feel like, oh man, damn, that was good. I'm full. I ate that burger and I felt like, you know what? I'm a rabbit right now because I couldn't have any cheese either. So
whoever took you there just happened to fuck up and everything like that. They didn't take care of you because
I couldn't do the animal style. Or monster, whatever the fuck it is. I couldn't do any of that because I couldn't have the cheese and all that stuff. So I had to I had my diet at the time. I was cutting weight for the fight, and like I went and I got it and I opened it up and it was like dripping everywhere because the bun wasn't there to soak up the amazing meat juice apparently, and like it was like tomato juice and meat juice just dripping everywhere and lettuce, and I was just like, this is bull crap. Bull crap.
See, again, what they should have done is you should have gotten the 4x4 protein style. That way you had some fillingness. But that's just it. You take that damn thing and you fold napkins around it, and then you eat it. Just kind of like how the
if I have to fold napkins around anything to eat it, I mean,
hey, just
give me a fork and knife.
Any burgers that you get, any burger that you get from any restaurant, doesn't matter. They don't just give you the burger. The only place that they give you a burger where it's not freaking in a little stupid piece of paper is fucking McDonald's, like they
put it in a box.
Or not the Whopper, excuse me, the Big Mac. Yeah, they put that shit in a box. Double quarter pounder with cheese. They put that shit in a box. Carl's Jr. did the same thing. Oh no, they wrap their shit. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like,
but you can pick it up out of the wrapper, and you don't have to have the wrapper in your hands while you're eating. You pick it up out of the wrapper.
Hey, look, if we're just being a sissy about being messy and everything like that, man, okay, fine. Then
No, it's not even that. It's just In-N-Out burger in itself, man. Like, and it's expensive. The burgers are this freaking small, man.
Hey, you might as well.
What a burger, bro. What a burger.
On this podcast, you might as well put a poll out there saying, like, take a poll of what burger place you prefer, In-N-Out and Whataburger, and why.
Whataburger. And if it's not Whataburger and you guys all pick In-N-Out, I love you. I love you. But if you haven't had Whataburger, you can't participate in this poll. If you haven't had Whataburger, and if you hadn't had In-N-Out, you can't participate in the poll. You have to add both. You have to have had both to participate in this poll. I tell you what, if you've ever had a Whataburger burger and you pull out that burger and you notice that all that meat juiciness and taste is like in that bread as well. Oh yeah, dude. Like it's like extra meat, even though it's in the bread. Oh, so good. So good. Damn. So good, bro.
But if you want a savory filling meal that
That's expensive, and you only get this much.
The 4x4 protein animal style with animal style fries and a large lemonade.
Yeah, you're going to pay $20 for just one meal, by the way. $20 just for that.
No, you won't.
You just said fuck yeah. You're like, fuck yeah. Wait, no, hold on. No, you won't.
Well, say I pay $20 for two of them. That's what it is.
Yeah, no. It's $20 for one, especially the 4x4.
Oh God! All I hear is, there's a good glass of Haterade over there, or something like that, or what?
In-N-Out sucks. You know what? I'm just gonna fucking come out and say it. In-N-Out sucks compared to whatever. In-N-Out sucks compared to whatever. Anyway, you were in California. You're enjoying the fact that you were there and having family.
But that's pretty much what it was. It's just having fun, enjoying it. It's nice to be able to explore. Got some sun. Went to the beach a couple times and all. And then after mission, came right back here to back to Jersey and everything. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have considered that like a reprieve almost, even though you were there working?
Yeah, I mean, it was like a little, I wouldn't say getaway per se, but I would say it was a well appreciated TDY. So basically, folks, if you guys don't understand what TDY means, it's just a temporary duty. Basically for like the military. So like I'm Army, and like I said, don't let the beard fool you. But I'm Army, and which officially now 15 years, Sergeant First Class. So I've had a promotion and hit my 15-year marker now since the last podcast.
I was going to get to that, but yeah, I was going to get to all that stuff. We'll still talk about it. Yeah, we'll still talk about it.
But basically, it was a TDY is just I have another assignment in another location, so it could be different state, different city, and basically my unit just allows me to go from where I'm at here in Jersey and work at those remote locations. So if like say I go TDY again in California, that's basically saying I'm allowed to work in California because of work-related instances. But just because I'm out there for work doesn't mean I'm not allowed to enjoy myself. So, so
it's almost like a deployment within the States.
Pretty much.
Dumb it down like a hell of a lot.
Or temporary reassignment. There you go.
Temporary reassignment. Yeah. And it's not because you got in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming it's because you didn't get.
Well, no, actually the stateside deployment works too, because if you really think about it, that person is deploying to that location. They are going to that location. That's the whole purpose of a deployment.
Right. So yeah, okay. So you went to California in June. Before that, you had some stuff going on, and I wanted to get into it with you a little bit because before your deployment, you actually ended up catching COVID in April. You ended up catching COVID in April, and you had a pretty shitty time with it. So,
No.
No. It wasn't you.
It was August.
August. That's right. Yeah. So it was after. In April, you were supposed to go to the meetup. We were supposed to finally meet each other. And then at the time, your girlfriend at the time, Elle, she ended up getting sick and you couldn't go. Yeah. And you upset a lot of people, by the way. Like a lot of fucking people.
I heard.
A lot of people.
Just emphasizing a lot of people.
Yes, it was a lot of people.
Say it in the mic. I don't think they
a lot of people were pissed off that you were not there. No, actually, a lot of them asked me about you because you were recently on the podcast and everything. And they're like, "Hey, do you know if Popz is coming?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're supposed to be coming." And then obviously we kept in touch and everything. And you're just like, "Yeah, not gonna be able to make it." Taking care of Elle and stuff like that. So, and that made sense.
Yeah.
Were you able to get out and do anything for yourself through this past year that didn't involve what the hell?
Apparently my Google decided to talk to me.
They're listening.
Big brother.
You're with the government. You're with the government. So I don't know, man. They could be listening.
They're always monitoring me.
Well, at any point in time, before June, were you able to do anything for yourself? When we talked, you were talking about, wanting to start these things and wanting to start doing these things. As a matter of fact, me and you talked about having you be part of the nonprofit that I have to be like a motivational speaker and stuff. Unfortunately, we haven't grown enough to get to that part yet, but you're still, just letting you know, you're still on the list to be called, hey, we'd like you to come out and do this for us and everything else. And I remember when I told you that, you're like, oh, wow, that'd be cool. I'm like, yeah, it would be cool. That's why I'm asking you to do it.
Yeah.
But between June, between your deployment and when we had the podcast in January, Were you able to do anything for yourself?
So basically, like for myself, not so much. Again, mind you, like during that whole time frame, there was just unforeseen circumstances that happened, and that unfortunately kept me in the close proximity of Jersey and whatnot. But just because I was still home, or I was still, doing things here at the house and whatnot, didn't mean that I wasn't able to engage with other folks. Because again, mind you, like we had the podcast, and then after the podcast, I actually got invited to be on 2 other podcasts.
That's right. I was the first podcast you were on. That's right.
Yeah, you're the first podcast I was on. So I got invited to be on 2 other ones. And I just recently, I'm still trying to coordinate with another individual, but I just got asked to be on another podcast. I've had somebody actually within this time frame too send me some information about they want to interview me for the potential being in a book.
Cool.
that they're writing. They want to interview me for a storyline that they have going on, for a book series that they got going on. But they want to base the character off of me. Mm-hmm. They already have the name, they already have what the person's about, but they want to take, ask information about me, get to know me a little bit more, and then they want to make their character based off of who I am.
Mexican from California who became an army guy. There you go.
TikTok influencer.
And now a TikTok influencer. Yep, that's right. That's right. That's the story.
Yeah, but yeah, no, during that time frame again, like I said, so like, yeah, we had the podcast, the meetup, or from the meetup and to now and everything, didn't get a chance to do too much like out and about exploring wise, but we did go to Florida. Like me and Elle had gone to Florida at one point for her family stuff and things like that. And then, after we got back, like you said, I ended up catching COVID. Now I'm not one of those folks that are against it. I'm not like, as far as against the whole situation. If folks want to, and I'm putting this clearly out for people to understand and hear my point of view about it. If you are pro-vax or not pro-vax, that's your business. I have no qualm against anybody who does whatever. I wasn't planning on getting it, but being in the military, I had to. So I'm not pissed about it. I'm not upset. I got my shot. I even got the flu shot the same day as the second series, just for sake of measure or whatever. But again, for folks that need to understand this, it's like, I'm not against people who do the vaccine. I'm not against people who don't do the vaccine. I'm not against people who wear masks. I'm not against people that don't wear masks. My thing is just like, if you cough on me, I'm gonna cough back on you. It's common sense. It's like, just be polite, be courteous and everything. It'd be no different than it was like before all this shit happened.
Just be the same. Cover your fucking mouth when you sneeze. Wash your hands after you touch your pee-pee. Do the respectful thing. It's do your due diligence, and that's what it comes down to. Like, I'm not gonna lash at anybody and like call them names or disrespect them because I see them walking down the street without a mask, because I walk around without a mask. But I'm vaccinated according to the instances, I'm not going too much into detail about it, but according to the instances, if you're vaccinated, technically you don't have to wear a mask when you're out in public, right? Mm-hmm. But someone could come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're not vaxxed." It's like, no, I have been taken care of. I have my cards. It's PAI or it's PHI, so I really don't have to show you shit. Hey, it's HIPAA. It's HIPAA. Yeah, it's HIPAA. You don't have to tell, and you don't have to tell anybody whether or not you had the shot. Yeah. Technically,
that'd be like, it's at that point, it's like in the same instance of like having a service dog. It's technically like you don't have to tell anybody what your cause is. You could just answer 3 questions, but you don't have to give full detail about it. Correct. But even then, you don't even have to tell people shit, and just in general, Yep. But yeah, like I said, my disclaimer: you can act however you choose to act. Just don't act disrespectful to me or to anybody else. There's a lot of this past year proved that it showed how ugly fucking people can be. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that fucking sucks. So it's like, I'm hoping like with this year, everyone got all their ugly out and they can focus on, because you're going to see a bunch of people this new year been like, "Oh, new year, new me," or "It's time for a change." Well, let's make the fucking change actually happen as opposed to running with it,
They keep saying they want to make the change. They keep forgetting that the change begins with them. Mm-hmm. They want everybody else to change instead of change begins with you. Well, you ended up catching COVID in August, and that actually it put you on your ass for a little bit, actually a little bit longer than No, it was longer than me even. You were on your ass for a little bit longer than when I got it. I got it in February.
Yeah.
Right after our podcast.
No.
It was in February.
I thought, no, you got it while I was in school. You got it in December.
No, I got it in February, bro.
Then what did you have when I was in Georgia?
I don't know.
You had COVID when I was in Georgia.
No, it wasn't me, bro.
Unless you got it twice. No, you did.
No, I did not have it in December. I got it in February. And the only reason why I know I got it in February is because I was in the hotel room, like, going through some mental anguish shit because we had the hard freeze. We had the hard freeze that hit the Houston area. I had COVID. I fractured my rib in training.
Yeah.
And I was in a hotel, and then the hotel room ended up losing power and all this. It was the most miserable fucking time of last year.
Yeah.
One of the most miserable times of last year. But no, the reason why I remember is because I ended up, I think LJ and L were checking on me because I told them what was going on, and you were live, and we ended up Google Duoing you while you were live.
Yeah.
And then we ended up playing Xbox at some point. But
that's right.
And that's how I met Bianca, who I'm currently with now. And that's why I know. Shut up.
It's totes adorbs.
Oh, the only reason why she was in your live is because if I say Riker, she just goes like this.
Oh, Jesus.
And she's doing it right now.
Hey, honestly,
she's listening to this podcast and she's doing it right now.
Like I said, Riker he's that staple OC, man. He's that go-to for like any fucking thing.
It's literally you with no hat on, contacts, fangs, and a fucking tank top.
But honestly, I'll get into that, like the talk.
Well, we'll get into that. Yeah, we're gonna get into
we'll
that.
Get to that later.
No, I just don't understand how the girlfriend I have now is like, yeah, Popz is different from Riker. I'm like, it's the same person. He just takes his hat off. It's the same fucking person. It's the same person.
Oh, damn. It's funny as shit because that's the only reason why I keep my hair as long as I do.
That's the only reason why you keep your hair long is for Riker?
Yeah.
Really?
Because like actually
that's dedication, bro.
Because like tomorrow, like, and really the real dedication would be, so actually I'll explain that part.
Yeah, we'll get into all your OC stuff because I know you got some stuff going on with that. That's actually some pretty cool stuff coming up with your OCs and everything. And we're going to get into that. But anyway, I had COVID in February. I don't know who the hell you're thinking about in December. I really don't. But no, I had COVID in February and I was out for about 10 days. But you in August, you were out for like almost 2.5, 3 weeks, dude. You were.
Yeah, I was out for about a month, and it's like
like shit.
Yeah, the first so basically when we got back from Florida, when I got back from Florida and everything, the 9th, it was on the 9th and everything is when I started feeling kind of fluish. Like that's when the next morning, because the dogs, one of the new dogs, Rex, he chewed up my couch. Tore the damn armrest to shreds and everything like that. I just paid it was a sectional setup and everything. I paid like $200 for it. It was just hey, I'm trying to get rid of this. So I picked it up. That's like an $1,100 couch though. So it was a hell of a deal. So I picked it up. We leave. He chews it up. I was like, fuck. And it was on both of them. So there's no salvaging like that piece or whatever.
Right.
So we ended up going out and going furniture shopping. And while we're out and about, I'm feeling a little off. Like I didn't know what was going on. Like I felt physically tired and I'm like, oh shit. Like I know this feeling. This is like when I get sick, because all the times that I've ever been sick, I always have an idea of how I feel or what goes on with me. So while that's happening, little by little, it starts to kind of increase in like a faster speed. So it was like, because what normally would take, I don't know, like 3 days to happen, literally happened in a span of like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh shit.
So like, yeah, so I was feeling body fatigues and muscle aches and things like that. And then we're still walking from store to store and I'm starting to get, a little bit more aches and pains. I'm starting to feel a little flush and whatever. When we got back to the house, man, I was in bed and I hit my first part of my fever at like 99 something. When we got home, by the evening, I was at 102.
102? Holy shit.
And that was like 2 or 3 hours later after I got back to the house. Like I was at 102. The next 3 days, I do not remember.
You
I
don't
do not
remember?
remember. No,
Damn.
because the highest fever that I got was the highest fever that I got that I remember was 104.7.
Holy shit.
Between 105, 104.5.7. So it's like between those two ranges. I don't remember anything between those 3 days. I could have sworn I died at one point. I like because because that's how much it just blacked out for me.
Right.
After that, it was just a struggle, man. I ended up putting up a little quick post because I know folks people were kind of concerned or worried about me, so I just gave my little update to folks on TikTok, and it kind of gave updates throughout the time that I was sick, because I know people had been asking, or what's going on with you, or what's going on with this, or what's going on, whatever. But yeah, man, it was body aches, body fatigue. Elle had to pretty much help me get up out of bed, walk me from place to place. I was, secluded just to the room.
Mm-hmm.
But when the day that I found out that I had COVID, it was the rapid test. So within less than 24 hours, actually less than
So I think it's less than 8 hours.
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
They gave me my results, and immediately the CDC called me immediately after that phone call. Like as soon as I got the results, I got a phone call from them, and they're like, "Yeah, this is from Public Health or the CDC or whichever. We want to just go over information with you." I was like, "Oh crap! Like, you're gonna have people show up to my house or like
hazmat suits?"
Did I officially get bugged with the damn thing or whatever? That's why it hurts, because there's a little microchip at the base of it.
Yeah, no, conspiracy theory. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Google knows everything that I want, and so does Amazon. So I don't get it. So,
dude, there's a possibility. If it's on the internet, it must be real, right?
Exactly. But yeah, so it's like I took the time. They actually had some resources, which is actually pretty cool. So like for folks that don't know this, right? If you do happen to get picked up and catch COVID or whichever, and the CDC calls you, there is actually outreach services that will contact you and ask you if you need any assistance. So like when I got sick, and then shortly after, Elle actually ended up catching it her as well too. So not only was she helping take care of me, I was having to take care of her too, the best I could with how bad I was feeling. But
I remember that. I called you both. About it because we were having a meetup in San Antonio, and I remember I called you. I was talking to you both, and you both sounded like shit. Not gonna even lie. You both sounded horrible. It was just like, God dang.
It wasn't the business, but yeah. So like the resource center, basically, they'll contact you, and a local, nonprofit will contact you as well too, and say, hey, what do you need? So like, we had a church that reached out to us, and they're like, the lady was nice. She was like, oh, sugar, hey, honey, like, I'm sorry you're not feeling good, but what do you need from us? And I'm like, can you please call this person, because I can't even remember my own name right now.
Right.
So I mean, but they brought a bunch of crap because it was COVID, like the whole obviously being quarantined to the house. I couldn't leave, couldn't go to do places, couldn't go get things or whatnot. So they brought a fucking enough to stock off my backup shelves in the garage.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they brought a lot of stuff. Because they get you enough stuff that'll probably last you about 30 days just to be safe.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I had the COVID, got sick, whatever. At day 10 was when I was officially able to get off quarantine. And then day 11 is when I got my next test. Well, I had to go for testing because I was told or was asked, because obviously for military, they need to know the status of how I'm feeling or what's going on with me. And they needed to know when my next test was going to happen. So I got my next test. Docs were like, why are you getting a test? I'm like, well, they need to know what my unit needs to know what's going on. So that way they can adjust their setup accordingly. And then there's reasonable means why I'm unfortunately not able to go back to work, because during that time frame, I guess they were still telling folks, if you tested positive, you can't go back to the office until you test negative.
Right.
But the docs were telling me, like when I talked to them, hey, we have people testing, but they're going to be positive for like 6 months. Like there's a chance you'll still be positive for 6 months after. And I'm like, they just asked me. I'm just following accordingly. Yeah. If you guys say it's happening, then just let me know.
Yeah. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing here.
Yeah. So eventually that got set. I ended up getting three additional tests that time. Positive all 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But by the 3rd time, I talked to my folks. I was like, hey, look, I'm still coming up positive, but I have no symptoms, no nothing. Everything is fine. am I clear to come back? And that's when they gave me the all clear. I will say on the physical fitness aspect of it, it messed me up. It kicked my ass heavily because I know like I said, I frequent the gym daily. I'm on there all the time and everything like that. And I know my first day back into the gym, I was only able to be there for about 10 minutes.
Damn.
And that was just literally to walk in, get myself situated for my workout, get to my first machine. I did one set and I was like, and I had to do, I did one set and it was just half of it. And I was like, I can't do this. Like I ended up getting my stuff, going back, and literally I was only there for 10 minutes from the moment I walked in to the moment I left.
Damn.
Because and then little by little, practice got a little bit better, but the running for sure, that part right there, I still have a little bit of difficulty because, like it's like I know I do my vaping and all this stuff, but I don't do it with any nicotine, no nothing or whichever.
Right.
So I have nothing really causing any true hindrance to my lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was running.
Anything that you put in your lungs that's not air is actually a hindrance.
Well, yeah, but like I was able to, as much as I was vaping, even with the nic and whatever, I was able to run before I got COVID. Like I was able to run for days.
Right.
Afterwards, like I just sit there and do a run for like what I used to do for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes of running. I dropped down to like 10, 15.
Yeah. When I started cutting weight in August, because in September, I started cutting weight for the fight in November. I noticed my cardio took a huge hit, like the endurance part of my cardio. I can lift weights. I can lift weights all day. But when it came to cardio stuff and that heavy, the breathing and the trying to pace that breathing and everything, that was a hard thing to do.
Well, you think about it. I mean, it's COVID attacks your lungs. I mean, it attacks your body.
Just attacks your body, but it is technically like a lung disease. Yes.
Yeah. So it attacks your lungs. So it's going to mess up a lot of the stuff that you got going on in your lungs before you can do anything else. Everything else will heal first. And then your lungs will take because they're doing, if you really think about it, your body does a lot of work when it's just out, But one of the biggest things that's constantly doing something is your lungs, because one, your lungs have to keep a flow of oxygen pumping to every part of your body, because obviously it oxygenates your blood. So the blood flows to where it needs to go to. If your lungs stop pumping, everything else stops working.
Correct.
So like they say, like my thing is like that people say like the heart is the hardest working organ in there. I think honestly, personally, the lungs are, because they have to keep shit flowing. Like they have to keep the air blowing so that way it can keep everything pumping through your body.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your heart's going to stop if it doesn't have any oxygen.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I'm interested to, like, for me, when I was going through COVID, like my psyche took a pretty big fucking blow. It wasn't just being cooped up and everything. I lost a mentor, and I wasn't able to go to his funeral. Because I was quarantined and because of having COVID, I was cooped up. I was still going through, stuff I was going through, and I couldn't finish the training that I was in. So it was like all this shit was happening because of this fucking virus. I'm in a fucking hotel room. It's freezing, below freezing in the Houston area, which never fucking happens here. So, like all hell is breaking loose, and I'm stuck in a fucking hotel. I can't go out and work and help. I can't see my family or my friends. And it was just this, for somebody that was already battling depression and anxiety and stuff, like it was probably the worst case scenario for my mental health. And it put me in this weird funk, man. It put me in a funk of just like, who the fuck cares? I mean, if this is what my life has come to, and this is what it is now, and this is what I got to look forward to in the future. Of course, obviously, I wasn't thinking about the positive stuff in the future, but it was just, you get stuck in your head when stuff like that's going on. And it was just like the worst possible thing that probably could have happened to me at that time. And, thank God for, again, like we were talking about earlier, thank God for social media and fucking video call and everything like that, because I was able to hang out with you, I was able to play Xbox with you, I was able to talk to some friends, which
we're due for another Xbox session. We're due for another thing when you get your shit situated.
I will, but like, thank God for that kind of stuff, because I think that was the stuff that kind of allowed me not to hit that edge, you know?
Yeah.
But I was definitely not in the best headspace. I'm interested because obviously, you know, if everybody listens to the first podcast, you know, you've dealt with some stuff too, and you deal with some demons as well. And when you're getting put into that kind of situation, man, actually, I'm kind of interested as to how you were able to work with that. Now, at the time, you also had somebody there with you, helping you out and everything else. I had to do this all on my own. I didn't have anybody helping me. Now, they came in, you know, they would drop stuff off at the front of the door, but I didn't have anybody in the house. I didn't have anybody I can talk to and, you know, like, and see in person, you know, like, so I'm wondering, like, how did that affect you mental health wise?
So mental health wise, like it took a hit to me. As someone that's about preaching, hunting the good stuff and everything like that, I have a severe, I guess you can kind of say, like, I have a severe battle with the demons that I face in myself. Because for a while, again, I was making content for TikTok, on a regular basis, posting it on my different social media platforms and things like that. And then when things started kind of going a little wayward and whatnot, you know, it's like a shield, you know, my making content, my putting things out there was my shield against what I was dealing with and everything. And it was taking battered hits every single time. It's basically, I wasn't replacing my shield. I was using the same one over and over to, you know, block everything that was coming at me. And by constantly using that shield, it was just being tattered and destroyed a little bit more and more. So to the final point where it just completely shattered. And that was, I think, after COVID hit, because then it started taking, because I had no way to defend myself. I had no way to protect my mental health and everything with the way that I was going through, because, you know, I was allowing other outer influences influence me on how I was feeling. So like, I'm a big person with the content because that helped me get a lot of thoughts that were in my head out of my head. But when I can't make content, I sit and dwell, you know, everything starts to brew up, and eventually the cup becomes overflowed. You know, you can only fill up a cup so much before it spills over on everything and starts to make a mess, you know. And it goes the same thing with, like, even with my house. So I'm a person about the appearance of your home is a huge reflection of who you are outside and inside. When I got sick, obviously you're limited to what you can do. Like, and it's fine to be reasonable, to be like, okay, you can't do this.
Yeah, I can't do this because I physically can't right now. Right.
Yeah, you can't do this because of this. You can't do this because of that. But it's like, because of the time frame that it took. Like, I'm used to being sick for a few days because I can't remember the last time I actually got sick before I got COVID.
Yeah,
but
me
like,
neither.
you know, the last time one of the times, like, I can remember was I wasn't sick one time for 3 years. And the day that I got sick, I was out for like 2 weeks, you know. But then during that time frame, I was living in an apartment, so it didn't really have too much to worry about except for the stuff inside. Here, I love being outside, doing my yard, you know, making my place look nice, look neat and whatever. And when I got sick, I couldn't do yard work. I couldn't do, you know, household cleaning stuff. Couldn't play with the dogs as much as I wanted to and things like that. And even though for some folks that would sound like, well, that's just household chores, that's just random shit. For me, it's the that balance point for my mental stability. It's that balance point, so that way I can attack, not so much attack, but I can process my thought processing. Because again, there's a lot of stuff that happened throughout that year that took a huge toll on me. And when I couldn't do some of the stuff that I used to help process, it just started stacking. So not being able to throw on my headphones and take 4 hours, which take to do the yards in 5 hours, which normally would take an hour, because I was able to stretch my time. I just did it myself. You know, I couldn't take that much time to just process, you know, being able to make content, which I would make content for 4 hours, just about the same as I would do yards, you know, and I couldn't do it because I was sick. So again, a lot of the mental strain started taking its toll, but then again, thankfully to good people and everything, and helping remind me like, hey, things happen. It's okay. You know, you're fine. It's okay to not be okay. And cause I need that reminder myself too. Like, and I go through my shit and everything, and I like to put it out there to people. So I'm like, hey, you're fine being who you are and going through the struggle that you're going through, because it's something that's going to make you a better person. It's going to be something that shows you how much stronger you can be. But sometimes I'll tend to forget it myself, and it just becomes like automatic instead of it just being like it becomes half duplex. Basically, I'm just saying it, but I'm not receiving it either. So taking the time,
you're doing the do as I say, not as I do approach.
Right. And I'm just plugging my ears as I'm saying it, because it's like, I'm not going to listen to myself tell people what they should do or how to make themselves better, because for me, it's whatever. But
right.
Like I said,
go ahead.
No, because it's like, but during that time frame, it did take a toll on me. It got me to some pretty dark places, to a degree where I stopped. I stepped away from everything for a while.
And that's actually that was kind of where I was wanting to get to, because it was at that point in time where I reached out a couple times, and the conversations were very short. You weren't Pedro. You weren't Popz, and I was like, hey man, if you ever need to talk, I'm here. And you're like, all right, thank you. And that was it, and I knew something was off. I knew you were a little bit shut off. At the time, Elle was kind of letting me know what was going on as well. And I'm not going to say much about all that unless, you want to bring it up, but it was like, God damn, man, like where's my boy at? Like it was when you see someone that you look up to that's struggling and having a hard time, and that somebody that you look up to that helps you through the times that he's currently going through. Yeah, it feels defeating. You feel like, well, fuck, he did all this stuff for me, and I can't do a goddamn thing for him right now. What's going on? And so I just wanted, at certain point in times, I'd give you guys a call. Hey, just letting you know I'm here. I'd give you a buddy check text message, but you fucking suck at responding to text messages. Yeah, and then I knew some of the other stuff that was going on in your life, and I wanted to let you know that I was there, and I'm here, bro. Like, if you need to talk, bro. I'm here. I understand all this stuff. I can listen. I can give you advice. I can shut up, whatever, but I'm here. Yeah. And I knew you would appreciate that, because you do that for other people. But when I did that for you, it was, and I'm not saying this to bash you in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Just no. I'm not saying. But when I did that, when I did that for you, you blew it off. You blew it off, like, and you blew it off because you were in that state of mind, right? And it wasn't because of who I was, or you thought I was being what's the word I'm looking for? Insincere. But it was because you were just in that state of mind that it didn't matter who wanted to help you. It didn't matter that you had a bunch of friends and people wondering what was going on and if you're doing okay, because you were stuck in your head. You're stuck in your head. And when you're stuck in your head, you can have a million people behind you, but until you decide to get out of that funk, it's your decision. Yeah. And so I'm trying to get, I don't want to pry too much, because I don't want you to share something you don't want to share, but I'm trying to get you to let the audience know a little bit more detail. So there can be some, what's the word I'm looking for? Similarities, or something somebody could connect with that would go through, and with what put you there in that headspace. I guarantee you, what put you there in that headspace, somebody else has dealt with, but we haven't really detailed what it was. And I got to be careful, because I don't want to pry too much. I think I can figure out something for it. So honestly, the grand scheme of it all is everything impacted what I was going through during that time frame. Everything from personal, instances where it's like mental issues, mental thoughts of my own and everything like that. Outside influences where it's like inabilities to be there for family, certain circumstances, my relationship and everything like that, those kind of things. And being sick, dealing with COVID and everything, obviously dealing with work situations. So it touched on every little piece that I was dealing with, had some kind of influence that kind of got me to that point. Would you say all those little pieces, there was some issue going on a little bit with everything? So like, there's some issue with not being there for family, some issue with the relationship, some issue with being sick, some issue with kind of losing that creative thought. There's little bits of issues, little bits of bad things, and a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah. And then so like, because you have those 5 main bad pieces and everything like that. And then the 6th part is actually, the way I would see it is it's the six pieces that make a whole person. You know, 6 pieces of influences, and it's family, family, friends, work, relationships, and then just external influences. Like, and it's talking about like things that don't like directly impact like family or whichever, but like like the social media things that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like that can go onto that platform, or creativity. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And then that that centerpiece is yourself. So allowing each one to connect to you in a particular manner will help influence or help, make things better or make things worse for you in the long run. So for me, all 5 of those pieces were impacting me in a way that, it became a struggle, family, just the constant trying to, if I couldn't reach out to family, and I was like, my like lacking portion on reaching out to my own family as well too, or being the disconnection, meaning like being like away from them. I had family members that were getting COVID left and right. So obviously put a huge strain on me because I didn't know what was going on. Health issues with, my brothers, my dad, my mom, my cousins and things like that. And where it's me, I want to be there to help take care of them, but I can only do so much, friends of same thing. I was having friends, little do folks know and things like that, but I was having friends, committing suicide. I'd had friends, getting sick themselves. I'd had friends, calling me with a bunch of issues that they were going through with, when I'm telling them we're having talks and conversating, but it's like you're trying to put a lot of your burden on me to give you a solution. It's not a talk where it's like, I need advice. It's like, what do I need to do to make this work?
Right.
Because there's a difference between talking to someone for advice and talking to someone for a solution.
Right.
And that's where people have to understand. It's like, you can't talk to people for a solution because they're not going to give you the right solution.
They're going to give you the solution that they think if they were in that situation that would work for them, which isn't going to necessarily work for you. Remember, you're two different people.
Yeah, because again, like when people try to give you details, to give you solutions, they can either get it when they do it out of means that's going to benefit them. Mm-hmm. That means that's a selfish move to make. Mm-hmm. You should never talk to friends to have them do stuff for your benefit, because it's like, or for their benefit, relationship, obviously, like things got hard in the relationship, things got tough, and then it just went in a different direction, unfortunately, and then also work, workloads started coming up, building up and things like that. There's nothing wrong with the busyness of work, but just there's a lot of confusion that was going on, and just some things weren't really meshing in the way that they should. Mm-hmm. So it's just a lot of some disconnections in there that were influencing. And then on the TikTok, on the social media portion of it, because again, that's another whole different area, which I never thought I'd actually say that, but TikTok, social media just in general became a whole other aspect into my life, because now it's creating content to help, other individuals, it's creating content for myself. It's that creativity. That's what I mean. The creativity portion. Mm-hmm. I started losing my creative edge. I started laxing in what I wanted to do. It started becoming overwhelming, where it's like, I have to put product out or else these people are going to be upset. I have to put product out or else I'm not going to get this, or I have to put this or do that, and it started becoming overwhelming. So instead of all 5 of those things being something beneficial for me, I unfortunately allowed it to influence me in a negative way. And because I was sick, again, the whole health portion, because I was sick, it took a huge toll on me, because I couldn't do my normal, hey, I'm stressing, let me go do the yards, or hey, let me clean up the house a little bit, or let me go to the gym and work out. Like, I couldn't do a lot of stuff. So during that time frame, I did what I normally shouldn't do. And what I have a habit of doing is I cut everything off. And when I mean I cut everything off, you could talk to me straight up, face to face, and tell me, brother, I have so much love for you in the deep down portion of my heart. You are family, you are this, you are that. And I would just look at you and just like, okay. Yeah. Like you could tell me, unfortunately, like you can tell me like how unfortunately, well, I'll say this, unfortunately during this time frame too, I had an uncle pass away. Mm-hmm. I had an uncle pass away, and he was an uncle that I used to spend a lot of time with when we were kids and everything, had a huge impact in my life when we were kids. Obviously, when we were grown, we distance ourselves when we get a little further out, and, but we still kept in touch and things like that. But he passed away, and I was like, there was a am I reading this text right? And then, there was nothing. I felt nothing. I wasn't sad. I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset. I wasn't scared. I wasn't whatever. There was just nothing. And it was because of that circumstance that made me realize I'm stepping into a place I can't be no more. Like I need to get this figured out. And I've actually started to, take my own advice a little bit better and get myself back into therapy. Mm-hmm. You know, getting myself back into therapy. I mean, it's good to do my own general instances, but now I'm actually going to go see someone to talk to and have conversations with them. Basically a third party, not third party, but someone just with an absolute non-biased opinion. Mm-hmm. Because talking to family, they're going to tell you things that's going to either, although they may tell you something that may benefit you, it benefits them in the case. Friends, same thing. Mm-hmm. Friends will sometimes tell you that what's going to benefit you, but sometimes they do it in a way that benefits them as well, unknowingly, and some of them do it knowingly. Mm-hmm. But at least going over to a therapist and going to talk to them about the situations, it gets, I guess you can say, that the monsters that are stuck in my head or that, you know, are hindering me from making conscious thought or processing conscious thought, it gets them out. It gets it, you know, to someone so they can help me analyze it and bring it to my attention in a different manner. You know,
that's awesome that you came to that realization. Now, I know this past year, you and I kept in touch quite a bit. You know, we talked every now and then. I'd say quite a bit. We talked every now and then, little buddy check here and there. And we would, a little after our first episode, you know, you got to know me and my ex, and, you know, it was, things were happening, things I thought were going on the right track. And then obviously shit happened with me on my end. And I noticed that, you know, you fell off there for a minute and then you came back, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden it was like a complete, like, what happened? Where the fuck is he? Is he fucking alive? Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah.
And because you're so fucking horrible at text messaging people, you know, and because of what was happening relationship wise with you, like I had no idea what the fuck was going on, man. I was concerned, but at the same time I was just like, well, he knows if he really needs somebody, he can call me, or he can call one of his friends or something, like. But I know for a fact, because there was, you know, people with What Makes Us Fire sometimes would hop on the live and were like, hey, you heard from Popz? You know, people were asking me about you, and I'm like, hey, if you hear from him, let me know, because I tried, and the guy, I mean, he's already horrible with text messages, but like I have no idea what's going on. All I know is he put something out there that said he's going to be gone for a while, and that was it. And then all of a sudden, here you are popping back up with, hey guys, I'm back. It's time to hunt that good stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, there was no lead up to, hey, I'm thinking about coming back. I'm working on myself. I'll be ready. No, it was, guys, I'm gone. What's up, everybody? I'm back. Yeah. Let's do this. And, you know, I'm not complaining in any way, shape, or form. Actually, no, you know what? Fuck that. Yeah, I am. I am complaining. As a friend, I'm complaining. Like, you should have. Yeah, you should have. That's the wrong words. I would have appreciated. I would have appreciated.
But not even that. Not even that. It's like you would have hoped. Because when we say, like I said, when people say you should have or we would appreciate it, it becomes a means for themselves. But when you say you would have hoped,
no, I'm dead sick. But it was definitely for me. No, fuck that. It was definitely for me and my peace of mind. Yeah, fuck yeah, it was for me and my peace of mind. No, it was for me. There we go. Fuck yeah, it was definitely for my peace of mind. I was fucking worried about you.
I know, man.
Yeah, I was worried about you, man. It was for my peace of mind. Absolutely. I'll admit that 110%. Yes, I'm being selfish as fuck by wanting to know if you were okay or not.
You wanted some Pedro time.
Oh. I wanted some Pedro time. Yes, I wanted some Pedro time. Pedro time, Popz time, whatever.
Yeah.
Just not on the black couch. We already did that. No, but yeah, man,
we talked about that. We didn't. No, in a conversation about
it was just a conversation. Don't let him lie to you.
Oh, Jesus.
No, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would definitely admit it was for a friend's peace of mind. I would have liked to know that you were doing okay. Absolutely. Yeah. And yes, it is selfish. But at the same time, it was it was my selfishness wanting to know you were okay. So there was a little bit, it's a little bit of both, right?
And to say like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Because like I said,
there's nothing wrong with it. No. There's nothing wrong with it because it's tied to something that it's not like I want him to be okay because he owes me $500. That's different. I wanted you to be okay because I cared about you and I wanted you to do good. And if you needed help, I wanted to be somebody there and let you know. But I mean, you fucking fell off the face of the earth, man. Like it was like I called you one time. And unfortunately at the time you were with your family and I'm like, oh man, sorry. I didn't want to bother you, but I was just calling to check in. And you're like, I'm with my family, bro. And I'm like, all right, man, I was just calling to check in on you. See how you're doing. You're like, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, bye. And you're like, bye, click. I was like,
yeah, no, like during that time frame, like, yeah, you're right. And like, I did fall off the face of the earth. I like got to the point where, cause again, nasty habit. And this is what I'm pretty sure everyone does. Like anybody that's listening to the podcast or watching the podcast, and I'm looking straight at you when I tell you this, you can bullshit all you want. I guarantee you have done this at some point in time or whatever, but we all want to solve our own problems. We want to solve our own issues and everything. And we'll do the damnness of everything we can to do it before we reach out to someone. Unfortunately, like I said, the nasty habit that I fell into was exactly that. It's like I'm a Mr. Fix-It when it comes to fixing my own problems. Because again, just like anybody else, we want to be able to take care of other people, but we have a hard enough time taking care of ourselves. You know, if you work in an industry, I work computers. I can take care of and fix other people's computer issues or account issues or whatever. But sometimes I have a hard enough problem figuring out my own crap, you know?
Yeah, like, you know, your microphone and headphones.
Yeah, at the beginning. Yeah. But it's like, so that was just basically what it was. It's like I have the tools that I'm remembering that I'm used to having to dealing with my stuff. And I'm emulating it's like digging the hole. Like, you know, I'm digging myself a hole, but instead of it actually being a hole that's going to be helpful or that I can fill with good stuff, it's just a hole that I'm leaving empty because I'm just digging with nothing to fill in or no way to keep myself out of it. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm trying to think of all the solutions that I can possibly do, but that's all I'm trying to do. I'm thinking about it instead of actually focusing on what I need to do to actually put those into effect and get me out of what I'm going through. You know, as I started trying to find more solutions to issues that I was going through, I couldn't solve them. So I was like, okay, well then this needs to happen. Well then this needs to happen. Well then this needs to happen. And so I'm using a different tool to dig deeper and deeper. And that's just it. I just dug myself into a rut where I wasn't even focused on anyone else. I got blinded by, you know, and then again, there's nothing wrong with being blinded by taking care of yourself, but there's always a degree of where it gets to, you know?
Yeah. It can become detrimental. And, you know, we here at WhatMakesUsFire, we always talk about how, you know, being able to start working on yourself and fixing yourself for you first is a good thing. It's a very good thing. But I have also always said there's 3 conversations you need to have when you start realizing you're getting into that space, right? Into that headspace. You need to have the conversation with yourself. Yes, there's something going on. Admit to yourself, there's something going on. Second is to let the people that are closest to you know what's going on so they can understand that if you do fall back, that it's not them. It's something in your head. You're not figuring it out. And then the third is talking to a professional. And those 3 things, exactly. the last 2, the talking to family and then talking to a professional, that's allowing yourself to accept help. And as much as people want to say it, that they can fix everything on their own, if you can fix a mental health issue without talking to a professional and you are not a professional yourself, if you can fix your mental health issue,
what is your secret?
Yeah. Like, fucking let me know, because I can guarantee you do not have the means, the tools, or the science to understand what exactly it is you're doing. Yeah. It might feel good, but if you ever find yourself falling back into it, that means it didn't work. Yeah. That means the tools that you are using and you still fell back into it, the tools that you're using were the wrong tools. They were Band-Aids. So you talking to those professionals, that's when you said earlier that you made the decision to go talk to a therapist and everything like that. That's a huge thing. That's a huge step forward in you getting better for you. You're getting that third party perspective. It is a third party, you know, that non-biased third party perspective, someone who understands how the human mind works when it comes to depression, anxiety, PTSD, and the things that we deal with. And you are not allowing anybody else. And you said this just like a fucking therapist. When you get advice from friends and family and spouses, They give you advice sometimes. They mean well, but the advice sometimes has a little bit of selfishness in said advice. They're telling you, well, why don't you think about this? Well, they want you to think about that, not only in hopes for you to feel better, but they want you to feel better because they feel better when you feel better around them. Exactly. So there's a little bit of selfishness in that. Instead of, I just want you to feel better. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about how you feeling better or you getting better is going to make me feel. I just want you to get better. That's the hard thing for a lot of us that are giving advice to people that we love. We forget that aspect, right? Well, I just want them to feel better because it's better when they're feeling better. Yeah. Or I like it better when they're not all down and shit. Well, that's a selfish thing. You want them to feel better, but you're giving that advice with a little bit of selfishness tied to it. And that's not true advice that's going to help that person get out. Yeah. You might be giving them a Band-Aid.
Yeah. And also to jump on that as well, too, as far as at that point. And again, with this conversation that we're saying and everything that we're putting out, there is absolutely nothing wrong to feel bad for the individual or something to influence you a bit. Because if it's someone that you care about, if it's someone that's struggling through a lot of issues, like mental health issues, medical issues, freaking just in general financial issues or whatever the circumstance may be, you're gonna feel for them. And it's okay to feel like I want them to be good for me as well too. But at the end of the day, it's how it's perceived, it's how it's implemented, or not implemented, but it's how it's expressed. You know, you want them to understand that you want them to feel, if you're gonna feel good for yourself, hey, feel good for yourself, but you don't have to tell them directly. You can if you want to. That's perfect. It's up to you. My recommendation is don't tell someone, I'm just checking on you to make sure you're feeling good because I need to know that you're doing okay. Because what happens is then it takes the task out. It takes the task away from them taking care of themselves or figuring out how to make them feel better.
For them, they feel like they have to say they're okay so you feel good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, exactly. So remember, everyone.
And I apologize for that, but I was being selfish.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I was being selfish. I'm not even, dude. I ain't even.
Well,
no fucking shame, like, dude. You know the shit I'm dealing with. The last thing I needed is to have a friend that was in a dark space. You know, like, no, fucking, let me know you're doing okay because I'm not.
and that's the thing. That's the thing too. It's like I know your intentions are pure. Like I know your intentions are pure. At the end of the day. We could sit there bullshit like this the way as much as we need to, but at the end of the day, like I know for a fact that your intentions of knowing if I was okay was purely to know if you were okay, if I'm okay,
whether you were where you were or not. I just wanted to know where you were at. That's it. Let me know where you're at.
Yeah. Where I've been telling folks now, it's like it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. You're never going to be okay. I've been telling folks a lot. You're never going to be okay, but are you all right? It's making sure you're all right. You know what I mean? You know, that day when you're finally okay, hey, that's cool. Like that's what I say to folks and everything like that.
I'm gonna challenge your thinking on it. I'll challenge your thinking on it. I understand what you're saying, but I think the difference comes to the definition of okay, right? Yeah. I think that's where the difference of this what's about to happen here is the definition of okay. For me, the definition of okay is not good, not bad, but at an even.
So all right.
You're at an even. Yeah. Like okay is all right. It's the same thing. So you're at an even. And what I mean by you're at an even, it's that whole TikTok sound that the world's scariest people are the ones that when shit happens to them, the first thing they say is, it is what it is. That person is just okay. That person is just okay. Because they're not allowing anything bad to bring them down, and they're not going to let anything good to make them think that the world is better than what it is.
They just accepted it.
They just accept it at face value. It is what it is. I'm going to keep doing me. That, to me, is okay. Yeah. That's where I'm trying to get to. I want to get to that point where I allow the happy times to be the happy times, come back. Allow the bad times to be the bad time, come back. If we continue to, like, when people are feeling bad, they're always like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And it's like, are you sure you just want to be happy all the time? Do you want to be happy all the fucking time and not experience anything else in your life. Because if you experience happiness all the time, sooner or later you're gonna lose and forget what true happiness actually feels like.
Well, it goes back in playing where it's like, you know, if anybody who like, you'll never learn how to succeed if you don't fail. You know,
Exactly.
It goes just like that. Because if you live a life full of happiness, full of joy, I mean, not knocking anyone that's listening or whichever that has gone through that. And I mean, freaking praises to you that you've been able to live a happy life the entire time.
If you've been able to do that, how do you define it as a happy life?
Right. You know, it's like if you're living it like where people are like, oh, I just want to be happy, cheerful, joyous. I want to be this, I want to feel loved or whatever. It's like, that's awesome. But it's like, if you don't know what it's like to lose something, or if you don't know what it's like to have sad days, if you don't know what it's like to be angry, nervous, or scared or whatever, you're not really living a life that's full. You can have a happy life, but are you really living a full life? You know what I mean?
That's actually a really good way to put it. I think full life, I would rather live a full life than just a happy life, just an okay life, or just a sad life. I'd rather have a full life because a full life has all of those things intertwined, and it allows you to appreciate the good. It allows you to recognize the bad and appreciate the bad, appreciate failure as a teaching tool, as a learning tool, as something to make you stronger for yourself. And appreciate just being okay. Appreciate being apathetic sometimes. Appreciate the fact that you can let shit slide off your back that would have normally broke you. Yeah. And, you know, when you're able to do stuff like that and just allow life to be what life is, and it's a roller coaster of fucked up and happy and nothing. Like, if you can appreciate even the nothing, like that means like you're a Buddha, right? You're Buddha. You know, like Buddha was never happy. Well, it is kind of like a Buddhist mindset. You know, that they allow they allow happiness to be happiness. They don't allow sadness, and they allow sadness to be sadness. But it's always just being at an equal, the yin and the yang. Nothing's more yin, nothing's more yang. It's just even.
Allow those circumstances to take place when they take place. Allow them to last for the duration that they last, but always come back.
Yeah,
you know.
Always come back. Always come back. That's the thing. It's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Way easier said than done. But you don't have to. Whenever you get sad, you don't have to come back to happy. There's nothing in the rule book or anything that says if you're having a hard time and you feel like you're having a sad life, that the only way it's going to be better is to go to the complete opposite of the spectrum and just have a happy life. There's nothing that says that has to be the golden rule. Like, if you're having a sad life, and strive for just an okay life.
Yeah.
It's better than living a sad life. It's not as great as living a happy life, but at least you're at even. At least you're just at peace.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. At peace.
Yeah, you're living. You're allowing yourself to live in a manner that's appropriate for what you're going through. Because again, like you said, I'm gonna pull some MRT stuff out. Like, so what's called a TC disconnect is basically when someone is going through a certain field of emotions or certain instances of circumstances that it's completely opposite for what they're feeling. So like when someone is pissed off, angry, like infuriatingly mad, but their reaction is like they're fucking happy as shit, or they're like crying, like bawling their eyes out. That's a TC disconnect because the feelings themselves don't match with the action that's currently happening. So when someone is feeling sad and underwhelmed or feel like they're depressed or this and whatever, and their outlook is, I'm just the happiest little fucking bunny in the whole wide world or whichever, it's a disconnect because they're not matching where they're supposed to be at with their levels. If you're sad, be fucking sad. If you're angry, be angry. If you're happy, be fucking happy. You know, faking the funk is faking the funk. We do it all the time, but there's always a point where you can't do it no more. And you have to allow yourself to indulge in those emotions. Like, I'll be honest. Even to this day, I still struggle with it. Like, I have my own shit that I'm still dealing with that I haven't even fully gotten over, that I'm still working my process through, you know, and I've been getting back to the point where I'm allowing myself to, if I'm sad, man, be fucking sad. If I'm happy, be happy. If I'm just mellow yellow, fucking be mellow yellow. Like, enjoy what I'm doing or allow myself to be in the right mindset. Because if I'm here, but I'm acting like I'm up here, I'm just fucking destroying the foundation that I have. My foundation now is bullshit compared to what's being built upon it.
Mhm.
And then once that foundation finally decides it wants to destroy and just take over, everything that I developed or everything that I built is just going to come crumbling down. So it's like, yeah, if I'm sad and my foundation ain't ready, hey, fuck it. Be sad. Don't let your foundation settle and then come back to where you need to. You know, it's taking the opportunities to give yourself a break, give yourself that rest that you need before you can move forward. You know?
I want to move forward a little bit and talk about a little bit about your promotion and what that's been like for you. I don't know exactly what it all entails. However, I do know promotions usually entail a little bit more responsibility and stuff like that. What was it was something you were going for. I remember that it was something you were going for, and you ended up getting it. What did that do for you? Like, how did that help out?
So,
or not?
Yeah. So for folks that just are hopping in or whichever, last year I'd been a staff sergeant in the United States Army, from about 2012 to 2020. No, 2021. I've been a staff sergeant all that time. E6, basically, for those who don't know what it is, it's 3 little points and 1 rock underneath. So now I recently, actually back in June, actually when I was gone in California, I got promoted to Sergeant First Class, and it was effective as of July. So that's, you know, E7 type. Now with the increased responsibility, I've already been in charge of the shop that I run, but now my unit basically did a full-fledged merger where now we're responsible for two brigades at the same case. So our number went from about like 50 some odd people, or like 100 some odd people, to like almost like 2.5, like almost I think between like 200 to 300 people.
Yeah,
so the
that's
number
a you might want to know being in charge.
Well, no, it's the thing. I just run the shop. But again, now with that being the case, like I'm in charge of making sure that, you know, network systems are working, not network systems per se, but account information is working appropriately. Folks are up to par with their online training, things like that. Computers, making sure that they're being, you know, taken care of, that they need to be taken care of. At the same case, we have exercises that are coming up where we do, like what I was doing last year in June. I'll now be on the planning and coordination team that helps, you know, put that shit into work. Basically go to these. So like basically the increase in meetings that I have to go to and workshops that I have to go to has exponentially doubled, you know, because now I'm going to have to do a lot more TDY locations at different sites to sit for these planning workshops and get these meeting notes and help them coordinate on the signal side, on the networking side, you know, how we're going to get that site to talk to this site, you know, for training, you know, at the same case. But aside from that, just from like general daily duties, you know, it's increase in pay, rank status and things like that. And it's been, daily duties are just pretty good. Right now we're in off season until next year during summertime. And then that's when we start getting back into the exercise time frame. But it's been pretty good. I mean, it's something I've waited for years. Like I said, I finally got it, and I got it before my 15-year marker hit. So that was a blessing in disguise right there too, because that was one of my major goals. Is my milestones was to get promoted to Sergeant First Class in the Army before I hit my 15-year marker. Because at this point now, I can start prepping, doing my training, get this time in service in for my E7, and then work to put my packet in for my E8, which is the Master Sergeant.
What did it feel like when you made that promotion, or when they told you made the promotion?
So my dad told me, and not gonna lie, I kind of choked up, almost bawled, like got teary-eyed when I was talking to him, because, like I said, my dad, he's been in for, he's a Master Sergeant right now. He's been in for over 30 years and everything, and he is my greatest mentor that I've been in, not because just he's my dad, but because of the NCO that he is, you know, the non-commissioned officer that he is. And so he gave me a call and he told me, he goes, "Hey, how you doing there, Sergeant First Class?" And I was like, "I'm doing good." "Wait, what?" He goes, "Sergeant First Class, how you doing there?" I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean, Sergeant First Class?" He goes, "Congratulations." I was like, "Congratulations for what?" He goes, "You just got promoted. It's effective this." And I just got choked up, because all it did was just remind me in my head, man, of everything that I've done, who I've helped, what I've influenced, who I've influenced, where I've been, all the shit that I had to go through. to get to this point, but it also brought me to like my connection between me and my dad. And honestly, and the cool thing about it is, what made it a little bit more was because the ranks that I have on my uniform right now are my dad's.
Oh, nice.
So like on my ASUs, the Cypher's class ranks that I have on my sleeves, on my nice uniforms, those are my dad's from his old uniform. And then my rank that's on my duty uniform, those are my dad's ranks. Even the from the pins that I had on my cover, those are his. Like he gave me those from his old uniforms, so that way I can put them on my uniform. And for those who don't know what that's about, on the military side, when it comes to the passing of ranks and things like that, so during the promotion, when an NCO gets promoted or an officer gets promoted from one rank to another, they usually take that rank and all the sewings or whichever, and they'll pass it on to another soldier that they feel is fully capable of taking on this role. So like when I was deployed in 2018, I actually did that with one of my soldiers. She was an E5. I was an E6 still. And when she, you know, at the end of our deployment and things like that, I was working with her to get her packet up so she can get promoted. And just before the day we left, the day we got on the buses to go to the airport to come back home, walked up to her. I'm like, Williams, I want you to have this. And I gave her 2 sets, you know, gave her 2 sets of ranks, and they were both mine, my E6 ranks. So I had an extra set and everything. I'm like, I know it hasn't happened yet, but when this opportunity comes to place, and when this happens, I want you to wear this. I want you to have this, because I feel like you would be one hell of an NCO because of who you are, what you're compassionate about, the lines you won't allow to be crossed, but the lines you will allow leniency. And I feel like you've earned the capability to wear this rank. And then sure as shit, like months later, she ended up getting promoted to E6.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
So it's just basically like a passing of the torch.
So,
you know what I mean?
And the reason why I wanted you to bring it up, man, and how it made you feel and stuff is because, one, I'm going to start off by saying I'm fucking proud of you. That's amazing that you made it. You know, coming from me, it's probably meant a hell of a lot more coming from your dad, but coming from a friend and a brother that knows how hard you work and can see the drive you have for doing what you're doing, it makes it's a little bit selfish saying that it has me proud of you. I have a sense of pride of knowing that I have friends like you that are able to do what they're doing and succeed.
Okay.
And so I'm proud of that, but more so I wanted to share the story about that, you know, no matter what it is, whether you're working hard for a promotion, whether you're trying to work for yourself and become a better person in general, you know, when you finally succeed and you make it, there's this sense of accomplishment. Like you said, you went through a bunch of shit. You went through a whole lot of shit, not just pertaining to the promotion and the job, but like there's all this other shit that was going on while you're trying to do this.
Yeah.
And it almost makes it feel like it was worth it. It was worth it. And that's for anybody out there that has any type of goal. Just because it doesn't happen when you want it to happen, or it's not moving forward as fast as you want it to move forward, know that when it does, you're going to realize, like he did, like, holy shit, all that work actually paid off. It actually paid off. And it gives you the sense of accomplishment and sense of self-worth and sense of like, holy, if I do work hard on it and I don't give up, I can do it. Right? And I think that's the main point here, is that no matter whether you're working on your mental health for yourself, whether you're working on promotion, whether you're working on a project, whether you're trying to build a business, just keep going. Let the failure be the failure. Let the shit that's being put in the way be the shit that's being put in the way. Continue to work through it, because once it happens, you're going to tear up. You're going to get choked up and realize that all that stuff was just challenges to make you stronger. So when you got to that point, you knew what you were doing.
Yeah. And then on top of that as well, it's like the one thing to remember for folks to do, it's like, it's okay. It's okay when it comes to a point where you have to take a pause. mind. I'm not, just remember, like the way I'm saying it, it's okay to pause. It's okay to take a break, but it's not okay to quit and give up on what you're trying to accomplish. If you need to adjust accordingly, hey, that's another way to do it. It's okay to adjust accordingly. And that leaves open space for interpretation, because the moment that you put in your mentality where it's like, ah, fuck this, I'm done. Like, it's never going to happen. Then you just manifested, that energy into the universe, and it's not going to happen now. Now, what may not be happening right here, because who knows, that thing could have happened. But by you saying that, probably just stop something in the future from happening for you. Now I put more of a delay on something else, because you're going to go with that mentality if it's not going to happen. Things happen all the time. Good things happen all the time. Bad things happen all the time. Things that move you forward, things that bring you back, or things that keep you stagnant. But it's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your determination of, do I want to keep moving forward with this? Do I want to see this in the mentality where it's like, it's taking a minute, but it'll get there eventually, or do you want to just be like, I ain't fucking going nowhere. Like, so what's the point? A what's the point mentality is, it's going to be is just detrimental to what you have going on for you. That's going to help you progress. So like, again, the promotion things or whichever, again, it took a cool ass minute, man. It took a cool ass minute before it happened. And then it made me start thinking, I finally got here. And the moment that I got here, I was like, okay, what do I need to start doing to start getting ready for the next one? And it's crazy because it wasn't even a fucking, like, there was no delay. Like, I was already thinking, okay, what can I do now to make this better? What can I do now to progress to this? Now that I've gotten to this point, I am the master of my own destiny and everything as far as with this portion. So fuck, if I want that 8, and again, if I want that 8, I'll do what I need to do to get it, which I do. So, because the goal is to get my 8 before or close to by the time my dad gets out.
I have full faith that you'll probably end up getting it. And this actually rolls us into the stuff that you wanted to do. We talked about it at the beginning about the stuff that you're wanting to do this year. You wanted to start a podcast, and you had something else and the nonprofit. You said you wanted to get those started this year, right?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say at least to get the project management portion. So like, I was a core when I was deployed at one point. So it's just developing the project for it, because I know obviously it's not going to happen this year. It may happen this year. Who knows? But if it doesn't happen this year, I'm not disappointed. But my biggest thing is start getting the means, start making those steps, start plotting my points and everything like that. So that way I can, start building my timeline of, here's my start point. Here's my development phase. What do I need to do throughout that development phase before I start doing testing? And then from testing to development or production. You know what I mean?
I think, well, you're almost there with the podcast stuff, because literally all I did was grab a camera, a microphone, and a computer and started recording, reaching out to people. I had an idea. I had a purpose for what I wanted it to be about, and I just went from there. You're a little bit more planny outy. That's a term, by the way. And you
I'll make sure I write that shit down.
Yeah, you're a little bit more planny outy.
You like to plan outy,
Yeah, you like to get that shit step by step.
Planny?
Yeah,
can you be outy planning?
Maybe. I don't know. I think that's backwards.
Is it though? Is it really backwards or is it forwards?
Fuck, man, you're gonna screw up my head. Anyway, actually, what you're talking about, like setting up steps and stuff, is actually, it helps. I'm talking scientifically now. When you have a goal and you start breaking it down into steps, and you can complete each step in either a certain amount of time or whatever, you feel more accomplished. You feel more accomplished towards your goal, instead of having this huge goal, just going for it, and then realizing you're not there yet. You're like, wow. Yeah. Even though you probably succeeded in a bunch of different steps really fast, the fact that you didn't write them down or were even aware of them, it doesn't feel like you made any progress. Like, I was battling that this past year with the nonprofit. Like, I didn't break down the steps as much as I could have, and probably as much as I should have. But looking back, I was like, holy shit, but we have accomplished a lot. We got our 501c3. We're federally recognized now. Our name is getting out there across the nation. across the world, people are wearing our gear and loving what we're about. And it's like, we might not be at the point where we're able to do everything we want to do, like the peer support network and everything else like that, but we are moving forward. And because we're moving forward, that means those are some steps that I wasn't aware of that we accomplished. Yeah. And if you're able to really sit and have a planning phase and a development phase where you start thinking about every single thing and then write them into steps, every little thing that you accomplish, you're like, yeah, I'm accomplishing. It actually gives you more drive. I didn't do that because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had an idea. I put it out there and I just went for it. Like I'm the guy that dives in head first and hopes for the best, Please, God, let there be water, and please let it be deep enough. Because if not, I'm gonna drown from breaking my neck. Yeah,
marshmallows.
Marshmallows. Something. Fucking something. Just let the pool be filled with something. Because if there isn't, this is gonna hurt like hell. And I've been blessed enough that the pool was filled with something. I just wasn't aware of what that was. And it took me stepping back and realizing, I am doing. We are making huge steps. And we are making a bigger influence, and people are recognizing us a lot more. I'm making some amazing fucking connections with people. And that to me is probably one of the best aspects of what Makes Us Fire has done. It has brought people together and brought them in my life. People that I never, ever would have thought I'd ever meet, and yes, I'm going to do the whole typical people like you. People like Fuel, people like, L, Bianca, Conservative Ariel, I got Rubber Ducky Cowboy. Like, these are all TikTok names to everybody. I know they sound weird, but like these are people that mean the world to me. They become family now. Like the family I've been able to choose. And you get to, the cool thing about something that when you work towards something, you get to actually choose what the accomplishments are as well. Yeah. And one of those accomplishments that I truly feel that the podcast and the nonprofit has brought is the people that has brought into my life, and the knowledge that I have gained from those people. It's just this, to me, one, the nonprofit's not going to fail. I just want to preface it that it's not going to fail because I'm going to continue working to make sure it succeeds. But if the world were to end tomorrow, I would be happy knowing that I made the connections that I did because of this. Yeah. Right. That to me is like one of the best accomplishments that I've ever done. On top of people telling me that I've helped them, people are telling me that I've helped them live. Like, that's probably one of the biggest compliments I've ever received in my life, is that I saved their life by talking to them, by being myself. And that's one of the hugest accomplishments I've ever made. With you, now that you have this podcast idea and with this nonprofit idea, I think the podcast thing, you have friends that can tell you, hey, don't do this because that's what I did. And it was really, really bad. Learn from my mistakes, bro. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Please, God, don't make the same mistakes I did.
We'll see. And that actually brings me to that point, because I was actually going to get into that right there. Was now that you have gone through this process, like I said, because I am wanting to start my own thing and everything, wanting to start my own little deal, I can preference you for information. I can ask your thoughts and your opinions. I can get your advice a little bit more, pick your brain and pick other brains of other folks that have done this as well too, just to kind of get, because everyone's experience is always going to be different. Everyone's advice is always going to be their own advice. How I interpret it or how I choose to use it is ultimately at the end of the day up to me. But it's like we can go from all the way, like even right now, I was about to tell you, like, shit, now that you know what to do, fucking, you can make your own another YouTube video and just say, starting your first podcast, what to prepare, how to prepare. You can give folks insight on what they should do, or you can get like day 60, what you should be doing or what to consider at days between day 60 of your podcast. Basically give influence and start making like your little how-tos on what people can do, because they're going to ask you, like, I already told you, like, I wanted to talk to you for sure about, what's your thoughts and what I can do or your recommendations. We talked about this when I first mentioned it.
Yeah, you did.
When I first mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
it
I
goes
said,
in the
whenever
same-
you're ready, man, I'll let you know.
Yeah, and it goes in the same part with the nonprofit and everything. There's gonna be shit I'm gonna be picking your brain about because it brings curiosity to me. It helps me better, hone in my craft of what I'm planning on doing. Like even like as far as the topics goes and everything like that, do I keep everything the same, like same script every single person, or can I just do a day where it's just bullshitting, or can I do it where I allow them to ask me questions, or me ask them questions, or or what is my engagement going to be? So like with your
for me, it's just having a main idea, right? The main idea is talking about mental health issues, mental health stuff. And, at some, we talk a lot about everything, and we give our points of views and we give our opinions on that. And that's the main topic. But at the same time, it allows us to talk about other things and talk about life in general, because what is it that affects our mental health the most?
Yeah.
Life in general. And the shit that we deal with on a daily basis. And so when we're able to talk about those things and the struggles and the triumphs, and we can talk about how we worked through them and made them happen, these are all things that are actually tied to mental health. So even though we're not actually talking about depression per se, like exactly just depression, we're talking about things in life that help us beat depression. We're talking about things in life that put us into depressive states. And those things are tied into mental health. Life in general is tied into mental health. So when you're able to at least bring up the whole aspect of how are you looking at, how did it affect you? What are you doing to feel better about it? And all these things, those things are part of the whole idea of killing the stigma that is talking about our mental health issues and how we deal with life.
The way I would probably look at it is like, so I did this one time. It's gonna sound funny. I did this whole instance on TikTok with doing a post for the Vanta Lord or whatever and everything like that, to say like, oh, sir, you're invited to the smoke pit. But that right there is just, I was thinking about it right now, but that's it. It's like being at the smoke pit. You can have two folks having a full-fledged conversation and everything like that, and making a connection off of the topic that they're talking about, and then just other people sitting around listening. The whole instance of this is just like exactly what you're pointing out. It's like we're talking about it this is a casual instance, not so much as completely scripted, not like this is what you're going to say during this talk, this is how you're going to talk about it. It's like,
no, I didn't send you fucking questions, bro. Yeah. I don't know the questions I'm going to be asking you. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be asking you. I don't know what you're going to ask me. You just know that at some point we will get on the mental health aspect of everything, and that's pretty much about it. Everything else goes. And the funny thing is that the weird thing is that everything in life that we talk about can be tied to that. And so it makes it, I wouldn't say it makes it easy, but it makes it personable. It makes it like, it makes it relative to everyone, because everyone goes through life struggles. Everyone goes through life triumphs, and how we deal with those things and how we react to them, being who we are, civil service members for sure, and stuff like that. And if you guys, by the way, if you don't know, he has been deployed. He never was actually fighting back, but he was in a place where mortars were being dropped. Yeah. And that shit, that to me, that's even scarier, because mortars being dropped, but I don't even know what the fuck. They're telling me not to fight back. They're telling me to just go run and hide and hope for the best. Like,
it's like you don't know where to expect it from. Like,
right. So, but the point being is that, like, go listen to the first episode if you want to know all that other stuff. The point being that I'm trying to make is that the life experiences that we have and how we share them on platforms like this, on the podcast, when we're live and we get into a deep conversation or anything like that, or somebody's like, hey man, this happened, and then you give your advice or what you think about it. It's us giving our life experiences in hopes that somebody can relate and maybe think about it just a little bit differently. Just give them a different perspective. Just give them a different perspective. And that's what this is all about. Well, what you are thinking of doing with your podcast, I have no idea. You're still, you want to do a podcast, but it sounds like you're like, I want to be able to do a podcast, and I want to be able to talk to people. I just don't know what the fuck about. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
And that's what it is. Cause honestly, like if I were to have it, it would probably be called, like, again, like I said, I like that smoke pit idea. So it'd probably be just called the smoke pit, because it would just literally be like the coming together of like folks and everything. We just bullshit, we talk, but then we also get onto the details of just general instances and everything, my curiosity of like, well, what are your thoughts on this, or what are your thoughts on that? And we can have like topic conversations about anything. It doesn't really fucking matter what it is, because at the smoke pit, everyone talks about everything.
Right.
You know
Talks about life.
Talk about life.
Exactly.
You know.
Explain to us a little bit about your nonprofit idea, and what it is exactly that you're wanting to do. Now, here's something that I took from you and from our first podcast that I've actually even mentioned it a few times in other interviews that I've had. And we were talking about bringing awareness, and we would always bring awareness, and a lot of people are bringing awareness, and bringing awareness to a situation is very good. Us, it was the mental health aspect of 22 a day, the suicide awareness within the civil service. And for us, you said this, you're like, bringing awareness is great. It's awesome. And you're like, but I want to do something more. It's like, what is awareness without action?
Yeah.
It's just letting people know that there's a problem. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily fixing the problem. It's just letting people know that there is a problem. And so maybe they should be a little bit more sympathetic. Not really fixing the problem, but you're letting people know there is a problem in hopes that maybe somebody else out there is going to, or has something that can fix that problem or a portion of that problem. And your exact words were, what is awareness without action? And you're like, I want to create something that not only creates awareness, but also has an action to fix the problem that we're trying to make people aware about.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming it's going to be something tied to the 22 a day and military veterans.
Yeah.
So explain it a little bit more in detail, like what your idea is for that.
So the idea that I have in regards to it, and basically as far as what it would be considered, it'd be called the last call. And basically we've all gotten to an instance in our lives and everything like that, where there's plenty of folks that have, where they feel like they're at the end of the rope, that this is it. This is what's going to happen. They're going to do it. They're going to make their mark, whatever. But there's always one more call that everyone happens to, like, these folks will tend to make before a decision that they make. And I will say my last call that I made saved my life big time. I was in a dark spot, and this is like previously mentioned on the last podcast. I was in a dark spot and almost did something stupid, and that, I put a permanent solution to a temporary issue. But I made one more call and it saved my life. I actually ended up making 2 of them that night. No, 3 of them that night. Mm-hmm. And all 3 of those conversations, added something, but it was the first one, that made me realize like it's worth to continue on and keep moving forward. So my instance with the last call is basically being another outreach program that folks can contact if they're feeling at that point, and not so much as being that dedicated crisis line, but providing the resources for those crisis lines to those individuals if they feel they get to that point, but being the initial instance that they can come and talk to, so that way we can at least get them to a mentality point where it's like, all right, now that we can talk to you down, we're able to talk you down a bit. Here's a resource center that you can reach out to, getting them connected to those points, or to the point where it's like even helping them, like you said, do some kind of financial assistance and everything to get them to the services that they need, psychiatry appointments, home family services and things like that, even to the degree where it would be supporting families who unfortunately have lost a significant other due to those circumstances. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things that people tend to forget, it's like everyone that goes through the circumstance, like they're going to help provide services for the people that are going through the problem, which is fine, which is good and dandy. It's perfectly fine. But people tend to forget is the family members after the circumstance, because now not only or family members or friends or whichever after the circumstance, now they have to deal with the grief. They have to deal with the loss of that individual as well too. And if it's military or if it's first line responders and everything, families lose benefits. They sometimes lose those benefit gratuities because of the circumstances that happen, because any life insurance policy pretty much every life insurance policy, if the person does something malicious out of intent for themselves to harm themselves or put an end to their life, your life insurance policy only applies
is null and void.
Is null and void. Yeah. It only applies to you so long as you don't do anything stupid to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's considered that, then they lose those circumstances. So doing the last call would be providing support to the individuals themselves to make sure that they're taken care of, getting them the resources that they need to outreaches, and it would be basically a hub. So like getting folks in touch with the Wounded Warrior Project, getting folks in touch with your guys' organization, getting folks in touch with different services and whatnot, providing an outreach point, but that I can help with them to talk to them or whichever, but also provide support to the families of the lost soldiers who have fallen victim to the 22 a day, you know, because they're going to be going through some turmoil, you know, and it would be providing, you know, counseling services for them. It would be counseling service for the kids, you know.
That's actually a really good idea. And believe it or not, we actually were talking about it. We had a board meeting a few months back, and we actually talked about it. And one of the board members brought it up and goes, "What about the families that are going through some of this? You know, what would we do to help them?" And my answer currently was, well, if we help the individual, we won't have to, the family's going to be good. Yeah. Right. Cause we're stopping the problem before it became an issue. And they go, yeah, but what if there's a family that we weren't, you know, the individual we weren't able to help? What are we going to do for that family? And it took me back. I was like, you know what? I was concentrating so much on the initial problem, I forgot about what happens if you weren't able to fix the problem fast enough.
Yeah.
And we are in the process of adding in family of civil service members to get the same exact help that we would give to that service member.
Yeah.
So if it's a mother or father or a spouse that lost a loved one that needs help but won't go because they either lost their insurance or they'll be out of work, we're going to give them the same benefits that we would have given to the civil service member had they come to us. So they won't have to worry about the lost wages. They won't have to worry about the car payment, the house payment, you know, and everything else like that. So we're in the process of trying to figure out how to make all that work. But yeah, it's something that is going to happen. I was just so focused on taking care of the issue before it got to that point. I totally forgot that it's already been an issue for a long time. So there's a lot of people out there that are suffering with the repercussions of that problem not being solved. So we are now in the process of developing that aspect as well. And I love what you're going to do. It sounds like you have like a peer support network is what you're wanting to do. And that peer support network is not necessarily a crisis line, but it's a line to talk to somebody that it's hard for me to say no, that doesn't know what they're going through, but can understand and sympathize with what they're going through because they have similar ideas. They work in the similar sense job. They know how our type of work people act, relate, and think about certain issues.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk to the general public about the shit that we go through because they don't go through the shit that we go through.
Yeah. And part of the instance with what I'm trying to do too is actually provide some kind of education for folks, for the civilian peers and the civilian support, because not only is it going to be an instance where obviously it's military and it's the primary instance is obviously military and first responder support and things like that, but the education part goes to the civilians as far as with like, because we have friends that have asked us that are not military, like, how do we talk to you about certain things? I know when I got back from Iraq in 2009, I had people who didn't know how to talk to me. They just were like, you were all happy, cheerful, and whatever before you left, and now you're just quiet. Like, you're not the same person. It's like, but that's how they would just look at it. They're like, you're not the same person. What's wrong? What's wrong? Instead of it just being like, he'll come to me in his own time. You know, don't ask these questions and everything. I know I may be curious to ask about this, but you know, these are questions that I shouldn't consider asking or allow him to say it. So it'd be just providing that education to those people because, again, and it is nothing wrong with, you know, people asking the questions that they want to ask. They're going to be curious. People don't understand the circumstances that happened overseas. You may have a good experience. You may have a horrible experience. You may have a horrible experience that, like, you see it right out the gate, or you can have a horrible ass experience and you wouldn't even be able to tell from that person. Mm-hmm. But it could be because they're not showing it so that way you're not worried about them, or it could just be because it just innately didn't affect them. However, every circumstance is different, but it's just providing the education services for how to cope with how to cope with it, how to support someone that's gone through these circumstances, and taking not taking away, but like utilizing like the Army's instant ACE method, ask, care, and escort, and basically it's just asking individuals like, what's going on? Are you okay? Things going on. You care for the individual as much as possible until you can provide them the support or get them in contact with the services that they need. And then you take them to those locations. And the Army and like the different branches. I'm not sure what the different branches call it, but for the Army, the ACE program, or ACE method is hugely like expressed and influenced as far as with like, do this method or use this method to support, obviously it's not going to happen like right away, but just follow these process and just try to get that person to where they need to get help,
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that would be huge. That's a huge thing. Education for families, friends, the general public, really, mm-hmm. when dealing with civil service members, military vets, first responders, and asking them how they're doing, or not knowing exactly what to say, or giving them an idea of what it is that individual is dealing with, I think would be huge. It would be huge. At that point, then maybe the sympathy and the understanding will start being more accepted, for lack of a better term. Be more accepted in that, all right, I might not know exactly what he's going through or she's going through, but I remember going to this class and I remember they said that this type of thing would happen. Yeah. Let me use what I learned to make sure I don't make the situation worse. You know what I mean? And it's not going to be, it's not the education, that kind of education is not so that family member or friend can fix the problem. It's so they can understand the problem.
Exactly. Because they're not going to jump to conclusions as far as, well, this person's angry with me because of this. It's going to be like, okay, this person's obviously going through some shit. It's going to help them recognize the signs. And that's really what it comes down to. They're going to be able to recognize the signs or recognize, the symptoms or the circumstance. If someone is like quiet, nonchalant, it's like, okay, something's up, but don't pry. Let them talk because we want to know. We want to know like what's wrong. But we forget that it's not. We can't force someone to talk to us. Any therapist will tell you and everything like that. Like, I mean, this is my thought of what they would say, but as far as I'm concerned, any therapist would actually tell you, you cannot force somebody to talk to you.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
You can only provide them a place where they feel comfortable to talk to you. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. As long as you provide them that space and let them know that that space is always available, allow them to come to that space on their own time. Right. And that's the way it goes.
Like I said, that's the plan. That's the objectives that I have. And I'm actually developing it out, writing things out, journaling. So that way I know what to prepare. I've fucking been on YouTube looking up, different things, even as far as like everything from hardware to topics to implementations to like freaking what I need to consider. And again, as my next part of it is reaching out, like I said, me and you are going to have a sidebar conversation next time about like, what's your thoughts, what advice you can give. Cause again, it's one thing to research. It's another to actually get some like, hey, how'd you do it?
Right.
You can read instructions all you want, but you're never going to actually know it until you actually get it from who it is.
It's easy to be book smart, but there ain't no better education than the old hat willing to let you know the stories and what he learned from experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In fire and military, there's a reason you want to learn from the old hat because they learned how to become an old hat.
Oh yeah.
Right. They didn't die in the process and they didn't fail to the point where they're just stopped. Yeah. So you want to learn from those people. I am in by no means an old hat at this. I am still learning as I go, but I have made a lot of errors and I've learned from them. I've learned a lot. I have never thought I would learn so much fucking shit about how to manipulate audio in this past year, man. Like I read Audacity. Hey, if you want to know how to use Audacity, man, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to clean up your fucking audio now. I have read. I that user manual is stuck in my brain because I kept fucking shit up. I was just like, well, what does this do? Dude. Well, what does this do? Well, what does this do? And then I was just like, God dang it, I guess I got to read the fucking instructions.
Hey, that's like how I've been doing with my OBS and everything, man. Fucking learning how to do it for the microphone, like utilizing the gain, the refer, the fucking EQs, the comps, the fucking suppress, like everything. Just trying to adjust the levels, finding out what works for me, what works best.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, instead of it being something where it's like, oh, what does that do? I'm actually looking at it. It's like, okay, so if I adjust this level, it'll take enough of this background noise out. It'll silence this amount, but I got to make sure it doesn't pick up the level, or the mic will cut.
Yeah, if your gain's too high, if your gain's too low, if your peak level's at this level, God forbid you laugh loud, because if you laugh loud, you'll hear ha ha. That's what it'll look like. Because that's how some of my past podcasts were. Like, you would hear me start laughing, and then you would see me laugh, and then you'd hear the end of the laugh. Because I was just laughing so loud, and I was just like, why the hell is it doing that? God, that looks stupid. It looks like I don't know how to laugh.
Or just when you're in general, like when you talk and it's like something says lower, whichever, or it's like it just happened to have a side conversation. It doesn't pick up that portion of the conversation. It cuts after that decibel.
Right. And I learned how to bypass that. That's why if you go listen to a few of the first episodes, you can hear me progressively getting better with my audio and my editing.
It's like God forbid that you have some panza problems, and you gotta let nature flow. Nature take hold, and you just kind of hear it on the damn mic.
you hear it on the down mic. All you hear is. Did somebody just ask a question? Who's talking shit?
Somebody hit the buzzer.
Who's talking shit? Who's talking shit right now?
Oh, damn. Whispering sweet nothings. That's what it is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, whispering sweet nothings.
Oh, damn.
That's not what my Jonas said.
I'm gonna put that shit on the shirt. I'm gonna trademark whispering sweet nothings and just have like a puff of air. Could you imagine?
Oh my god, that's actually not bad. That's actually a good idea. You should put it on some. No. You know what you should do? You should put it on some boxers, right on the back.
I was just about to say the bottom of a sweater or a shirt, but putting on the back of a pair of boxers, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Boxers or board shorts or something like that. Yeah.
Whispering sweet nothings.
Yeah. Put on a pair of silkies.
Oh, damn! And see, what you do is you have that puff of air, just like right at the ass crack. So it's on the pant leg, right at the ass crack, where it comes out.
And then whoever's wearing them can turn around to whoever they're around and then let it go, and they'll actually see the silkies go.
Oh, damn.
What the fuck? We're talking about poop jokes and fart jokes, and we're laughing our asses off at 30-something years old. We do not grow up, ladies and gentlemen. We do not grow up.
Hey, but it's keeping that mentality helps you stay. It helps you stay moving. Keeps you young.
It does. Man, we've been talking for 2 hours now, which is actually it's actually I'm surprised, because at this point we would have still been on, I think, the second topic on that first episode.
Probably.
I'm really impressed with how I've always made fun of you for this, and so I'm going to make fun of you again.
Okay.
You know how to say something, the same thing. You know how to say the same thing like 6 different ways. And when you explain it, you will say all 6 different ways. You're saying the same thing.
You want to know why that happens, right?
Why does that happen?
Everyone has a separate interpretation of everything.
Right. But if they can't get the basic explanation, you don't have to give them an even basicer explanation. Again, that's another word, basicer.
Hey, man. We all have a certain job we do where we have to break it down to some people Barney style, man.
Oh,
sometimes they don't know. True. Sometimes they don't know Barney style. Sometimes they need Bob the Builder. They need fucking like
Handy Manny. You said something earlier about Mr. Fix It, and I was going to make a joke, and I'd be like, more like Handy Manny.
Oh, damn.
You're like, yeah, I like to be like Mr. Fix-It. And but you were talking about a serious thing and I didn't want to like stop you, but you're like, yeah, I'm like a Mr. Fix-It. And I so wanted to go like more like Handy Manny.
But when have we ever been able to keep serious throughout an entire conversation?
We haven't. I mean, just look at us now. We started talking about fucking farts and putting on silkies. Come on. So what are your, towards the end of the year, you started getting yourself back and you started getting back into a better headspace and everything. And I finally got you to come back on the show because I've been asking you to come back on the show for a while. But again, you went through your shit. You went through your time of reflection and your time of depression and your time of like some stuff. And I finally got you back on the show almost a year later, but it'll probably air a year later though. Let's see. I air Novas. I air Novas on Wednesday of next week, which will be the 12th. Yours will be the 19th. So 1 week before a whole year. 1 week before a whole year, your second episode on the podcast will air.
Oh, damn.
So for everybody listening, you're listening on the 19th. So what we just said makes no sense to you because you're like, no, duh, I'm listening to it on the 19th. That's the thing about recording episodes.
But we recorded this.
We recorded this a week and a half prior. So just
unless
you know.
These are like live sessions where we're broadcasting it live on YouTube.
So check this out. I actually have, and that's something else. I do have the capability now to do live podcasts where it can be broadcasted on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of them at the same time.
Yeah. Oh,
shit. Yeah, it's like $15 a month, and I can do a live podcast, and you can see the comments come up. You can do everything. TikTok's not part of it yet. They should put TikTok's platform on there, but you know how all that shit works. But yeah, no, you can stream to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. You can stream to all those things. And
there's a program that I use as well too that I have because I have a few streaming programs that I use. Mm-hmm. One of them in particular, actually, I have to talk to you about the one that you're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
But like the one that I use, like another one that I have, actually lets me do that too. You can connect your different accounts, and you can live stream to those platforms so long as you have the capabilities. TikTok, you can live stream to TikTok from your PC, but you have to be allowed the permissions to be able to do it. At the moment, like I try to see if I can set it up, but I can't. Mm-hmm. But my application that I use here on my computer actually has the capabilities to let me do that. I just gotta get the approval from TikTok saying, hey, you can stream from your computer.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for too. Because that would be amazing. That'd be a lot better than the phone and everything else.
Yeah.
And you can be on the mic and everything, you know.
Sound official and shit.
Yeah, no shit.
Like all fancy.
Yeah. Hola, mis amigos. It's football brought to you by Bimbo Bread.
Dun, dun. Oh, which I have to put this out there and everything. Hey, rest in peace, Vicente Fernandez. So if those folks who don't know, who don't recall, hold on, gotta do it right.
You're good.
Gotta take it off for him.
Yeah,
but rest in peace, Vicente Fernandez. If you guys don't know who he is, but most likely you probably don't. He was a well-known, famous Latino artist and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
who unfortunately passed away at the age of 81. I'm only saying this because we brought it up in the freaking your Bimbo advertisement. Get him a listen. This man has the capability of making grown men cry to their soul. You don't have to know the words of the songs that he sings and everything, but you will feel every fucking word and note. So Vicente Fernandez, rest in peace. And praise to the family and everything like that también too. So
yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Or we can go for another hour like we did last time. It's up to you. Yeah, man. So like last time, I usually ask three questions at the end of my show. However, when I've noticed and I started thinking about it, I was like, well, what happens when I have a return guest? What am I going to ask them? Like, I already asked them those three questions, and I realized well, shit, there's enough time that's been passed through that those answers could have changed a little bit. So you can still ask them the same fucking questions, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you again, man. If you're getting ready to have a podcast, you're working on it, right? And your guest is yourself. What's something that maybe we didn't talk about, or a piece of information or a question you would have asked yourself that maybe we didn't hit on this last 2 hours?
So one of the things that I've honestly, actually, I'll be honest, like we hit a lot of everything that we wanted to talk about that I actually was good with. We talked about, getting information out about the new and upcoming podcasts and the podcast Smoke Pit and the one last call nonprofit that I would like to start, that I want to actually putting in the works to get, in motion. We talked about, we hit the key point, which is basically the discussion about the mental health issues and things like that. Talked about, how to support other folks and what we can do amongst ourselves. And I gave my personal experience about it as well too. Gave the updates of what's happening on my life, and then also, man, just had a good old bullshitting session and everything as well too. Like we were just able to, as while keeping to topics, we were able to just have a good bullshitting session that we haven't had in a while.
Yeah, we haven't had in a while. And I am really happy, brother, that you have found your peace of mind and your peace of heart to allow you to come back and do the things that you do best. And that is be there for people. And that is share your experience and what you have gone through to help others.
Yeah.
You're one of the ones on this social media platform and in life that does this very well. You're allowing yourself to be yourself and still make a difference. And if you couldn't do that, or if I thought you were fake in any sense of the term, I would have had you on this podcast one time and we probably would have never talked again.
Yeah.
But you've been a friend and a brother since day one. And I can't thank you enough. It sounds like you don't have anything else to say or a question to ask yourself. So I'm going to ask you one more question. And you can say fuck off, and it's going to be a little bit of a deep question. And the only reason why I'm asking it is because, I'm going through a divorce and everything else like that. And you hit on this little topic a little bit. The relationship aspect, it took a little bit of a toll on you. If a pretty woman were to come up to you right now, are you available?
No.
All right. Simple as that?
Simple as that.
Simple as that. No. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know. What about a pretty dude?
Oh, God. No.
No. Well, because let's call it what it is, man. You're kind of you're kind of a hot thing on social media. I go look at your analytics. I guarantee you, 80% of your followers are female. You're smiling because it's fucking true.
No, actually, no. My analytics is 50-50. So it's actually, maybe a little bit more. Actually, it goes back and forth. But no, honestly, and to give you a little context, just a slight context on it, it's just self-development first prior to
anything else.
Gotcha. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
And that's okay. It's totally okay. I agree with that 110%. Being able to put yourself first before a relationship, before even your family, making sure that you're good with who you are first so you can be that person for anybody else that comes into your life. That's what matters. Yeah. So I wanted to ask because I wanted to make a little bit of a joke in that, you're this little hot shit on TikTok and all the women fucking fall over you. And
Not even.
You can't even say that with a straight. You can't even say that with a straight fucking face.
Because
you can't say this.
Funny,
no, it's because it's true. It's fucking true.
Oh shit!
God, we all know your DMs are full of hey Pedro. Oh wait, what did you talk about the first episode? Pedro is nobody's daddy, and then I remember that. Yeah, I listened to the episode before we came back on because I didn't want to repeat too much, but this one I will repeat. Towards the end, you're like, well, I'm nobody's daddy, and I was like, do you realize what you just said right now? There's going to be
because of how the name came about. That's why.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I understand that.
Popz.
Yeah, you know what? That was one of the things that I wasn't going to bring up. Asshole. Yeah, well, shit. And you not fucking correcting me until we're like 40 minutes into the damn interview.
I'll be honest, like I didn't even catch that. Like it was happening, and I'm sitting there like, is he really like? Does he think it the right way? I don't know. It just could be just I don't know. I just left it alone. I didn't want to embarrass you.
Oh, you ended up embarrassing me anyway.
Oh damn.
Yeah. No, but yeah. So that's.
But
come on,
it
man.
was funny, wasn't it?
It was. But come on, man. I mean, you don't have to be modest here. You're a good-looking dude, and I think you know that. And even though you won't say it,
the mentality that I have when it comes down to it. So, and I'll say, I'll just put it out there. I know I'm a good looking dude. Like I know it. I do my piece when it comes to fitness. I do my part when it comes to work. I do my part when it comes to the stuff that I have to take care of. I take care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep myself at a modest point because I've seen it in many different facets and many different forms where people have either taken advantage of the whole situation about it, or which is if they want to, that's their prerogative. Right. But I've seen where people can have fucking diamond style looks, fucking looking amazing or whatever, but have like the scum of the earth personality.
Right.
And
I get that.
And it's like, and I've always grown up with the mentality was like coming up from his younger years and everything. Again, I never really saw myself as anything appealing because during that time frame I wasn't. So I just did what I needed to do for me. I got myself into fitness because not even until the mentality for like, oh, because I want to look good. I got myself in the mentality for fitness because according to the military standard, army standards, I have a standard that I have to keep.
And you wanted to look good for other men. Got it.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Mm-hmm. But it's like, I had to take care of myself because if I have soldiers that are going to be looking at me like, hey, Sergeant, like, can you give me some advice for PT? Because I'm trying to fulfill this. I want my soldiers to be able to come to me and talk to me. So like, hey, can I get advice on how to do better on my PT test? Instead of looking at me like,
why the hell would I go to him?
Why would I go to you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, so that's my mentality where other people will see it. They were like, oh my God, googly moogly, like, holy smokes. Yeah. Like me. The first time I saw you. Again, and it's like, I keep myself humble so that way I don't want to allow myself to get in that mentality where it's like, because I look a certain way, I'm taking advantage of it. Because,
there's plenty of people on social media that do that.
Yeah. And then the way I say it like this is like this. My looks, the way I look, my looks are a blessing. My looks are a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a God-given blessing and everything like that because I do look the way I look, and I'm not going to ruin that opportunity. I'm not going to ruin it. And because anything can happen, I can look amazing. And then all of a sudden something can happen. I can get scraped like fucking when I was younger. I took
you're not going to tarnish. You're not going to tarnish what God's given you.
Exactly. Yeah. Because God has a way of reminding you, like you may be badass, but you're not.
You're not. Like
I took a 20-foot slide on my face in the snow on ice when I was younger. So it's like that was an example of like any fucking thing can happen.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, just look at it this way. I mean, how many people are fucking famous on TikTok and all they do is show themselves in bikinis or board shorts and half naked? Like, yeah. I
mean, more power to them.
If that's the way you're making your living, that's great. I wish you had a better message for the world and you did something for more people other than just looking hot.
Yeah.
But more power to you.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is like more power to them. I know what I'm doing for myself and it works.
And that's what matters.
That's what matters.
It's just very frustrating when you feel like you're trying to put out a message that is truly meant to not only help yourself, but other people. And then your video gets put next to some chick running in a bikini down the beach and 500,000 views, 127.
Yeah.
Views.
But remember what the whole point of the mission is.
Just to help
one. The mission is just to help one.
Yep.
As long as you get that, as long as that one person here's what you have to say.
I'm not saying I'm stopping it. I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm just saying it's frustrating. I'm not mad. I'm frustrated with it. It's like, God.
It's just like a pet peeve.
I wish she can be running down the beach and then right at the end hold up a sign, mental health help, National Suicide Prevention Hotline, WhatMakesUsFire.com, help a
Bro.
nonprofit, like something like that. Like make
You
what
wanted
you're
to-
doing.
You want it to
Worth
be
it.
You want it to be a Carl's Jr. commercial.
Yes, yes, but for a
Oh,
purpose.
shit. Yes.
But for a purpose. She's running down the beach. She's looking all hot and heavy. She's wet from the ocean spray. And then right at the end, she looks at the camera and go, last call nonprofit.
So
Contact
that,
blah 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 to help. You know,
for
like
folks that don't know what Carl's Jr.'s is, if you're probably familiar with it, it's called Hardee's as well too.
Hardee's, yeah.
If you don't know what
when
Hardee's
Jessica
is,
Simpson did.
Yeah. If you don't know what Hardee's is, it's a burger place. It's like Whataburger, In-N-Out.
No, it is not like that.
It's just a fast food chain, but it's like the name it goes by is Carl's Jr.'s on the West Coast or Midwest to West, and then from the Mid East to East, it's like Hardee's. So
that would be awesome.
Oh, damn.
If you want to know what we were talking about, just go to YouTube and put in Hardee's commercial or Carl's Jr. commercials.
Yeah.
You'll see what we're talking about. But yes, I want it to be like that because then it's like, wow, okay. Instead of just showing off it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. Yeah. It's frustrating. Like, I don't believe I'm the worst looking guy. I don't think I'm the best looking guy. I like you. I feel like I was blessed with what I was given, but I'm not going to like be half naked all the time to get my message out there. You know, like some people have told me like we should get there. No bullshit. There has been an idea to let people know about What Makes Us Fire is we'll get like a bunch of really attractive people and get them all like in the video and everything because those tend to do very well. And then right in the middle of it, do that little screeching sound. Now that we got your attention, you know, like
what can we do to help you with your mental health?
Exactly.
Here's the numbers to call.
Exactly. Yes. Because and you know, I don't know. It's frustrating. That's all. I'm not angry at it.
No, but you help out people, man. That's awesome.
I'm doing the best. I'm doing my best. Second question is, do you have any questions for me? Anything goes. I can actually talk about anything now because I am no longer I'm no longer tied to anything. So
no, the question that I have in particular is like, how are you doing? You know what I mean? That's like just in general. Like, I know there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on and everything, and like, and it doesn't have to be like you can say however you choose to say. You can say anything at all. It's just like, how are you doing? Because you've been helping a lot of people out and everything. And you've been putting the message out and everything. Has people brought you onto their shows so that way you can talk to them about your experience or like, you know?
No. I did one early last year. No, I've done two. I've done two podcasts, and they were early last year. So it's been a while, and they wanted me to share the story and what I was trying to do and everything else, which was awesome. IGY622 podcast, the IGY622 podcast. I was on Brian's podcast. My episode with him was actually his best episode for the whole year.
Oh, wow.
It was the best episode he put out there for the whole year. And then I was on Behind the Badge with Prince Blue and John Stepp. They were amazing. They're retired cops and everything, and they love the message about what makes us fire and everything. So that was really cool. But I don't get a lot of people other than close friends and family asking me how I'm doing.
Yeah.
When I actually sit back and think about it, with the personal life wise, there was a point in time where I was not doing good. I was stressed. I was hurt. I was upset that my life was going in the direction it was going in. And I never thought that after 14 years, I would have to be dealing with a divorce, right? That was the farthest thing from anything that I thought. Yeah. I didn't think that a mental health illness would cause this tumultuous thing in my life. Divorce, the suicide attempt I had in 2020, and you know, being apart from my kids for as long as I have, and all those things sucked really, really bad, and I was in a pretty bad spot. But as of late, I say as of late, about mid last year, when I started really getting the help and the therapy and the psychiatry and the meds were working the way they were supposed to.
Yeah.
I came to the realization that I can look at it as a loss in my life, the marriage and the relationships that I had. I can look at it as a loss in my life and feel bad about it, or I can look at it as a really shitty way of moving forward, but I'm moving forward.
There you go. I like that.
Right. And I have decided to focus on the fact that I am moving forward. It's not in the best way. I would have much rather been able to move forward in a less stressful manner, in a less, less stress, less things that I had to deal with. I would have much rather move forward and grown in a easier manner, in a better way, but I am still moving forward.
There you go.
So while I'm moving forward in a real shitty way and it sucks, I'm still moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what,
and that's what I'm trying to focus. That's not I'm trying to focus on. That's what I'm focusing on. And I'm also focusing on developing the idea of it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Life's going to throw shit at you. And no matter how much you want or think that you had control over certain aspects of it, you don't.
Yeah.
And the only aspect you have control over anything in your life is how you deal with what's thrown at you, how you respond, both mentally, physically, planning, all that stuff. That's the only thing you have control over, is yourself. And learning that process has helped clear my head a lot.
That's good,
lot. And I'm happy to say that my relationships are starting to reconcile. I am on the right track of repairing things that were broken, relationship wise, friendship wise, mental health wise.
Right.
And I cannot be more thankful. The nonprofit, we got our 501c3. Like I was talking about earlier, it's a good thing you're breaking that shit down into steps. So you feel like you're making accomplishments. I fell into a pretty dark hole with it for a minute because we just weren't growing at the rate I thought we should be growing without realizing that we were actually growing.
Yeah.
You know, like we have grown. We've grown quite a bit. But in my head, it was just like, well, we're not where I thought we would be, so we haven't grown at all. And well, no, that's not the case. It takes its own time. And so I'm learning how to realize that and be thankful for the things that have happened and the connections that have been made. So, I am doing okay.
That's good.
And the sense of how I explained okay was early in the conversation.
Yeah.
I am at even. I'm at peace. I'm at peace.
You're at peace?
I'm at peace with the shit I'm dealing with, and I'm at peace with the good stuff that's happened. I am
that's
just
good,
at peace. So, I wouldn't say that I'm happy. I wouldn't say that I'm sad. I'm okay.
That's
okay.
Good, man.
So, and I appreciate that. Not a lot of people, ask that, very often. And I try to ask. I try to ask it. When you go live, everybody asks you, "How are you? How are you?" And I always respond with, "That's a loaded fucking question," because it depends on what you're talking about. You want me to talk about my whole life? Do you want me to just talk about the nonprofit part of my life, my personal life? Can't say much about my personal life here on social media right now, but now I can. But it was just at the time, and it's like, man, how do you tell people to be open and honest with them when you were trying so hard not to be open and honest with yourself? And so that's what I'm okay now, to the point where it's like, you know what? You want to know? I'll let you know. And you're going to think of it the way you want to think of it, but it doesn't matter to me because I think of it the way I think of it. And that's the only fucking opinion that matters.
Yeah.
It's my own.
That's good, man.
So
it's good.
I appreciate that. My last question, brother. we are both civil service members. You're in the military. I'm in fire department, which, by the way, everybody, if you go listen to the first podcast, Pedro here was actually thinking of becoming a firefighter. Yep. And you can hear that story on his first episode. But as a civil service member, we have these things that we're doing. And I'm going to switch this up a little bit because I don't think that answer probably changed a little bit. But I'm going to switch it up and move it more towards the influencer side of what we do. What do you think it is with all these people that are on social media and they put out positive content, motivational content, ideas, things that they're not getting paid for by any stretch of the imagination, but they're putting it out there in hopes that it helps somebody else. Why do you think it is that we do that?
So my interpretation on that circumstance right there could just be, it can be one of two things.
Mm-hmm.
Either some individual is looking for a method of like self like reliance and everything like that, not so much as like they're putting the message out there because they get the good feeling that they're helping someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So helping them feel better about themselves. But then
which is actually healthy, by the way.
Yeah, which is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also the folks that you can actually will genuinely just want to spread the good cheer, good positivity, and the good information out to folks just strictly and solely for them. So it's either they want to help someone because they got some issues that they're dealing with that they don't want to deal with, or they want to help somebody because helping them helps themselves find solace and finds peace themselves. So they can do it for one of two things. Like me personally, it was a combination of both. You know, I spread the positivity and everything because one, I've always had this happy demeanor. I've always had this mentality of like, you know, hunting the good stuff and everything like that. And of course, like there are days where I've stepped away and I've fallen behind or fallen off of that train. You know, there'll be days where it's like, I'll spread positivity and get the information out because I genuinely want someone to feel good and I'm not expecting anything. But then there'll be days where I pass positivity out there because I'm going through some shit and hopefully helping them makes me feel better, or I just don't want to deal with the shit that I'm dealing with. So it's a combination of things. So it's just depending upon how we pinpoint it. At the end of the day, it's, you know, it can be kind of difficult. So, you know, like I said, go ahead.
Oh no, God, dude, we're too much fucking alike. Yo, our first episode, you'll hear like, I did this. So did I. I did this. Yeah. So did I. I do this. So do I. Like, what the fuck? Like, we're too much alike. Yeah. We're even both like, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, you first. At the same fucking time. Anyway,
Yeah.
See, here we go again. God damn.
Go ahead, bro. All right, go.
Fuck, man. Yeah, the thing is, what I think it is like you, what you said about sharing their story in hopes for it to help somebody else, because being able to help somebody else with what I'm going through, it helps me feel better about myself. Right. It's the way I end the show too. Remember, show love and peace out in the world, because you never know who's going to need it, and you never know who's going to be the one. You never know if you're going to be the one to make the difference. And being that difference, it feels good. It feels good being the difference in somebody else's life and making somebody else's life, just even for a minute, being that nice, courteous, loving person. It feels good on the inside for you as well. But that's a byproduct of just being a good person, right? You don't do it for that reason. It's a byproduct of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're truly doing it because, like, for me putting the messages out there and my story out there and the way that I do it, it's a therapy for me. It's sharing my story because every time I make a video and I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. I'm not, unless it's specifically to somebody or to a group of people, I am talking to myself. And when I put it out there and people feel like they're being talked to from me talking to them, it feels good that what I'm doing for myself can help others.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. And that's actually a healthy thing. When you start sharing your story and you realize it's helping others, that's a good, healthy thing. Look it up. you don't believe me, Google it. There's science.
So yeah, there's actually, that brings me to a thing that I was actually thinking about. So I was going to mention this earlier, but I forgot. But you brought me back. So there was a post that I put up on TikTok, right? It's actually one of my most recent ones, but it's a dual frame post between myself and regular clothes
and Riker.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened in that post. Because that the whole instance of that is basically saying it's like stepping up to the other side or whichever and everything. But you know, when you're down and out, sometimes the things that you battle most help remind you that you will be okay. You know, we always see it as a negative thing. Like I've always saw my anxiety, my instances of things like that. My OCs are an example of my PTSD and what I deal with in each instance. Riker has been my go-to OC since the very start, but he's been the one that I've been able to allow to connect with other people the most. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what better conversation to have than with the one OC that has been there for me to the very beginning, that helped me start my journey to get better, that's helped me get out of a lot of the funks that I've been in every single time. Because the moment I feel something, Riker is the first OC that I come to get that angst out, to get the detail, the anxiety, the craziness out, or whichever, whether from something small and dorky to serious to manic and crazy or whatever, you know? So like that conversation, I was telling this earlier the other day, that was a true conversation. Like that was like, although the audio was interpreted the way it was interpreted, like it was stated out, the conversation that I was having with myself between that point was like, can we start moving to the other side? Can we start getting better? And it's just Riker reminding me, yeah. But obviously being out in the, you know, his like, squirrel motion and everything, paying attention to things, mm-hmm. but just remembering that it's okay. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, man. You're allowed to move yourself out of any dark time you're having at any point in time you feel like you're ready to.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being in that dark place for a certain amount of time. Just remember, it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay there.
Yeah.
You gotta, at some point, you have to look at your demons, be like, all right, you know what? I'm ready to get out of this. Can we move through this now?
And just as always too, man, it's okay to have that light almost come out, almost have that light almost go out and be a flickering spark, but that spark may be the light at someone else's tunnel.
Exactly.
So just keep it sparking.
Yes, sir. Well, brother, I appreciate you coming on the show again. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Real quick, do you want to let everybody know where they can follow you and what they can do? Do you still have your merch line going, by the way?
It's actually going to be coming back up on in mid this month, if not starting February. Okay. But I've been working on some new concepts for new things and whatnot, and I'll be getting the merch line up and about. So,
sweet deal. Where can they follow you?
Okay, so yeah, if you guys are looking to try to follow me, first, brother, thank you for having me on the show. I really do appreciate it, man. You already know, like, I love being on the show and having these conversations with you, man. Just bullshitting and, you know, getting it out there. And I appreciate everything that you do as far as what your organization is about, you know?
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
As far as where you guys can find me on TikTok under as Popz_951. I'm also on Facebook with the same tag and on Instagram as well, too. If you go to the link in my bio, it's my link tree. It has a connection to all my social media platforms and also to the email service where you can reach me at teamhuntthegoodstuff at gmail.com. So if there's any merch inquiries that you have, if any appointment information that you'd like to schedule or things like that, I'm going to be starting getting into instance of possibly doing group Zoom sessions. So, you know, lucky few, like I'll probably start doing lucky instances where I'll invite people to do Zoom sessions with me. We can have a little conversation. We can have a drink or whichever. But it's my opportunity to take the chance to get to know you and thank you all for being here and being a part of what I've been able to accomplish in mine. Again, stay tuned for, you know, the smoke pit coming up for the podcast and, you know, the last call preparations and things for the nonprofit. But again, thank you guys. As always, you know, just like how I mentioned it again, and I'll say it again, you know, be the light that continues to shine and everything. Even if you feel like you're at your last spark, you know, the flickering light on a match or a lighter or whatever, let that continue to go because that spark may actually be the light someone needs to see at the end of their dark tunnel. and who knows, maybe them coming to you for support might help you ignite that flame to bring you guys back to the light.
Don't forget, hunt the good stuff.
Oh, and always, make sure you guys get some chicken nuggets and a Huggy, and always hunt the good stuff and everything. Don't forget that coffee too. So,
chicken nuggets and a Huggy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in reference to the conversation we had last night?
No, that's just in general, man. Like,
okay.
That's one of my things I always say. It's like, one, chicken nuggets always make you good.
Okay.
A Huggy because they make you feel warm. Coffee because it keeps you from, that no murder juice to keep you from, no murdering.
Uh-huh. from unaliving people.
Yeah, and then of course, coffee. Yeah, the coffee, and then just hunt the good stuff like always.
Like always. All right, brother. Again, thank you, man. I love you. What Makes Us Fire family? This is Popz, not Popz, but Popz _951 on TikTok. It's POPZ _951. Go give him a follow. Hit that link if you want to follow him on all his other social media stuff. Check him out. He's a great guy. Also, if this is your first time hearing him, remember you are listening to the return episode currently right now. If you would like to listen to his first episode, where I think we were a little bit more wild and rambunctious. This one's been a little bit more tame, but it was a great conversation nonetheless. And we always have great conversations, even when we're not recording or doing anything like that, man. And that's what I fucking love about you. You're straightforward. You need to get better at fucking answering text messages. I'm gonna say it again.
I will. There's a lot of things I'm changing. There's a lot of things I'm changing this year, and that's gonna definitely be one of them. So,
I was surprised that you sent me your email when I asked for it. But
I'm pretty sure I thought I sent it to you once before, and I was like, did this motherfucker have it? I thought, oh well, there's probably whatever.
It was a year ago, bro. Come on.
I still have text messages from you from a year ago.
That's creepy.
I don't want to hear shit.
That's a little creepy. Well, that's because you never check your text messages. You probably have unread text messages from me from a year ago.
Well, no, technically they'd be read because I'd seen them.
Because you opened it, but they're like, there's like 18 messages from me, and you only read the last two because those are the only ones that fit on the screen.
Oh shit!
You didn't scroll up to read all the other ones.
Hey, but did you die?
Again, proving my point that I'm probably right about that. Anyway, What Makes Us Fire family? Remember, have fun, stay safe, show some love and peace out in the world. Remember, you never know who's going to need it. You'll never know if you're going to be the one to be the difference, and being that difference feels really fucking good. Be the change you want to see in the world without letting the world dictate how you see that change happen. Just be better, people. Just be better. Be a better you for you. That's it. Trust me. Everything else will fall into place after that. Much love. Peace.
Team out the good stuff out.
All right, everybody. That was Pedro, better known as Popz _951 on his social media. Like he said, go give him a follow. Show him some love and support. I think what he's going to do with his podcast and his nonprofit that he's going to be working on are going to be huge. They're going to be huge within the military community, and I think they're really going to be huge really around the world. His general concept is going to be able to help so many people, and I mean, he already does, just by going on social media and sharing his point of view and sharing his struggles and showing that he's human helps other people, and he already does that in such a very, very good way. Doesn't hurt that the man's fucking gorgeous, but he is doing an amazing thing, and I think his idea and his passion is going to send him through the roof. He's going to skyrocket through success. And Pedro, brother, I love you, man, and I know the sky's the limit for you. I'm proud of you, man. Thank you again for coming on the show. What Makes Us Fire family? This is that point of the show where I say thank you. Thank you for following us. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for listening. And if you want to support us a little bit more on all those social media websites, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you can do that with the tag at What Makes Us Fire. That's it. At What Makes Us Fire, all one word. Also, that YouTube channel, we can use some subscribers. I mean, if you want to see the beautiful faces behind the weird sounding voices, or the beautiful voices behind the weird looking faces, you go to YouTube. Check out the podcast episodes there. You can see who it is that's actually talking. which, I mean, I don't know. Some people like that. Some people don't. It's your thing. Still subscribe, please. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can always email me at whatmakesusfire@yahoo.com, or you can go to WhatMakesUsFire.com, where you can learn a little bit more about the nonprofit, get some cool What Makes Us Fire swag, some merchandise. You can also make a donation and check out where you can see all the other podcasts at, and check out our upcoming events. Like I said at the beginning of the show, the Cheer Choice Awards in Vegas this April 8th and 9th. SpreadTheCheerUSA.org. Go check that out. All right. Here's the thing. This is where it's going to get a little serious. If you are finding yourself in a crisis right now and you need to talk to somebody and you just don't know where to go or what to talk to, I'm going to give you 2 resources that I truly believe can help you out. Before I do, I got to say they in no way support or sponsor What Makes Us Fire podcast or the foundation. These are just 2 very, very, very good resources that I have personally used and have found to help me. The first one is National Suicide Prevention Hotline. The number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, the number is 1-800-273-8255. Remember, it is 100% confidential, anonymous, and private. So you'll not have to give your name, nothing. They're just there to help talk to you. If making a phone call is just not right for you right now, you can always go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org. You will find a multitude of resources there to start your conversation, get you off that ledge, to get you feeling better. Again, they do not sponsor What Makes Us Fire in any way, shape, or form. And saying all that, What Makes Us Fire family, thank you. This past year, 21 was a pretty rough one for me. And I cannot thank all of you enough for continuing to support me. You know, the podcast episodes are starting to come out a little bit more regularly again. And that's on me. I let life kind of tear me down a little bit, and I apologize for that. I can't promise you it won't happen again, because I'm human. And that's okay. But I can promise you I am going to try to not let it happen to me again. Because I want to be better than I was last year. And I hope you do too. Much love to you guys. Have fun. Stay safe. Show some love and peace out in the world. You never know who's going to need it. You never know if you'll be the one to make the difference. And being that difference does feel really good. Be the change you want to see in the world without letting the world dictate how you see that change happen. Just be better for you, and I promise you, as long as you're true, you'll make the difference. Much love. Peace.